bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For eligibility terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball. NFL Plus premium offer available only to new and former NFL Plus subscribers. Additional NFL Plus premium terms at nfl.com/terms.
Feeling secure in your own home shouldn't be a luxury. It should be a given. That's why Simply Safe Home Security is dedicated to providing protection and peace of mind to all families. With Live Guard technology, Simply Safe's 24/7 monitoring agents can act within 5 seconds of receiving your alarm. Visit simplysafecolin.com and save 50% on a new system with a free indoor security camera. There is no safe like Simply Safe.
Progressive knows finding your new home was a dream come true. You wanted a colonial with high ceilings, hardwood floors, and a peaceful neighborhood. And you found it. Now, every Saturday at 6 a.m., you get to wake to the sound of your neighbor's leaf blower. Progressive can't save you from your noisy neighbors, but we can save you money when you bundle your home and auto with us. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers not available in all states.
56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10. It's time to get up and get your day started.
Morant. Oh! A jawbreaker!
It's Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. The first hour of Sports 56 Mornings is brought to you by the Big Green Egg. Now, here are your hosts, Greg and Eli.
What is happening, good people of Memphis and the Mid-South? We welcome you into Sports 56 Mornings as we kick off the new week. Hope you had a fabulous weekend. Great weekend weather-wise, and that will continue into this week. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Zach Boyd with you, broadcasting live from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, where family and fun come together. Yes, sir, Bob, the world's biggest spa sale continues. Check them out at 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. And the first hour of the program is brought to you by the Big Green Egg. I know fall's only a couple of weeks away, but we're not there yet. And we won't be there because it'll get up to 86 today. But right now, if you step outside at 7:01, 53 degrees, at least where we're broadcasting from, outside the Flynn Broadcasting compound. 53 degrees. Again, it was a delightful weekend, but we're looking at a high, as I said, of 86 today. It will be bright sunshine tonight, clear skies with a low of 62. And then for your Tuesday, mostly sunny skies. The high gets up to about 91, but after that, it drops down again. Talking about a high of 89 on Wednesday. On Thursday, 70. On Friday, 74 for a high temperature. We got a lot to get to. Obviously, we'll recap everything that went on in college football, including the Memphis Tigers' win over Troy, as they have moved into the top 25 in the coaches poll, getting set for the big matchup with Florida State this weekend in Tallahassee. Ole Miss rolls. Tennessee rolls over NC State, and Charlotte. Arkansas blows one when they had a chance to pull off an upset. We'll talk about it all today. We'll be joined by Barrett Sallee at 9:05 from Smothered and Covered, college football smothered and covered in the Sirius XM College Radio. Obviously, the NFL underway, week number 1. We got the Monday night game tonight with the Jets at the 49ers. We'll have it for you beginning with the pregame at 7. We'll talk some NFL. We'll talk a lot more of the NFL tomorrow as well on the program. We have Grizzlies news. We have Penny Hardaway speaking to a national basketball columnist, analyst, whatever John Rothstein's known as. He's prominent national guy, and Penny spoke to him after the most recent situations that arose between the 4 members of the staff that were fired and then the anonymous letter. So we'll discuss what Penny had to say to John Rothstein on the program today. We got a lot of things to get to. Jonathan Bolin was back in town, the former Memphis Tiger pitcher facing the Redbirds, and he did something special. So it's all coming up on the program today. Of course, you can hit us up on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines at 901-360-8255. Did you wear a parka to work? I know how you hate the cold.
It was there was a chill in the air last night and this morning.
But it feels good.
It does
Crisp,
feel good.
clear, refreshing. I don't know. I just love it. Zach, you're probably another guy that hates it. You want 95 all year long. I know you.
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
I don't mind the cold. Like, for me, because typically it's allergy season, like between spring and fall.
Right.
So once the cooler weather gets in, the allergies goes
Right.
away.
I deal with allergies. I get an allergy shot every other week. We have, of course, the little pests that once it gets really cold will be gone, the bugs. So I have to bring this up real quick. Yesterday, I was at the official grand opening of Shoot 360 in Cordova, and it was a fabulous day. Great job put on by Steve Bryan, the whole gang, Scotty, everybody involved with that thing. And, of course, Thaddeus Young, who was there and cut the ribbon. It was nice to see the longtime NBA player, former Georgia Tech standout and Memphian. But as I drove back, Eli, we were driving down Walnut Grove. My wife, one of my grandchildren was in the car, and we were coming back from what would be crossing over Germantown Parkway and going towards Christian Brothers High School. So you know the route I'm going, right? Mm-hmm. On the other side, of course, they have the final day of the Delta Fair. I think it's the Delta Fair, right? Over at the what do you call it? Agri Center. The lines of cars, which were taking up both lanes on the other side, stretched back all the way to Humphrey Boulevard. And it was 6:30. So I don't know how long the Delta Fair was open till, but even if it was open till midnight last night, of course, a school night, a work night, I don't know how half those people that were still in the line when I saw them got to go to the fair. The lines were so long, and the traffic and the parking was all the way out on Walnut Grove. They had cops galore to try to help with the traffic. I've never seen that. Back in the day when the kids were small, we used to go to the fairs. Sometimes crowded, sometimes not so crowded. I could not fathom driving, or let's say just stuck in traffic in that type of line at 6:30 on a Sunday night trying to get into the fair. It was crazy.
People want to go get themselves get some fried food, I guess. I don't know.
Hey, nothing wrong with the fair food. Nothing wrong with that. I just don't know how they got in. And it's one of those deals where you promise the kids, so you want to fulfill the promise. I just don't know. I'd love to know how many people ended up at that fair if they keep turnstile counts or whatever, ticket sales. It had to have been astronomical. The people I saw, I'm sure a lot of people know what I'm talking about if you were driving in that area and you saw. I thought it was a wreck at first. Nope, it was the fair. Absolutely crazy. I wish it was that crowded on Saturday for the Tigers game. I got to be honest with you. First of all, announced crowd 23 and change, less than North Alabama. A Tigers football team with all the expectations, all the hoopla, now ranked number 25 in the nation in the coaches poll. I believe first time they've been ranked since 2020. The absolute most beautiful weather you can imagine. And an early game in which you have pretty much the whole day to do whatever you want to do after the game is over. 23 plus announced. I've been pretty lenient because I'm not going to tell you what to do with your money now. I'm certainly not going to do that. That is your prerogative. Your prerogative. But I got to think there is more than 20,000 fans of the University of Memphis, alum, people who moved into the community that want to get involved with the local team. That was pathetic, I thought, crowd-wise. And some will blame the opponent. Well, the opponent won the Sun Belt Conference the last 2 years and put together 23 wins over that 2-year period. So, yes, it's not Ohio State, but it's never going to be Ohio State. Okay, maybe a few worry about the opponent as opposed to just rooting for their home team. The other thing is, I'm sure there are people that believe it's chaos over there because of the renovations. And I can tell you it's not. It is not. It's well organized. maybe there's a lot that's not open where you could park, but I'm sure that you've found ample parking or at least know of where to go. The tailgating continues on Tiger Lane. They still have the Tiger Walk. I don't get it. I don't understand. I know there's not a fan base, a natural fan base of 50,000 Tigers fans for football. I know that. I understand that. But dropping the way it's dropping in this season with the anticipation and the buildup, disappointing.
Yeah, it was pretty surprising to me. I don't think there were 15,000 people there, which is a little crazy. But and I was talking to somebody at the game about this, and it's with the 11 a.m. games. People always will talk about they got kids got soccer and this and that and
built-in excuses.
It's always easy to come up with an excuse to not go to the game. And I would say apparently the youth leagues those youth soccer leagues don't exist in all the SEC towns. They seem to, with 11 a.m. games, Michigan played an 11 a.m. game. They found 108,000 people to show up. Yeah, I mean, I just don't think the Memphis fan, there's just not enough of them that are just like, they say, well, sorry, we can't do this because the game is at 11 a.m. It's always, well, can't make the game because we got to do this. And it's just got to be, you got to have more people that it's just, no matter what, they know they're going to the game. The schedule is dictated by the game and not, oh, well, I've got this scheduled, so I can't make the game. But it just is what it is. Like when I got there, and I was like, wow, I was like, this is an incredibly small crowd. I was really surprised how few people were there.
Last week they kicked off at 6 p.m. So there's always going to be an excuse, whether they kick at 11, at 3, at 6, at 7, whatever the case may be. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. Very disappointed with the crowd. And Ryan's always going to appreciate the people that are there. That's what he does in his press conference. That's what he does with us on the broadcast of the game afterwards when we talk to him right after the game. He's always going to praise the crowd. But I got to think that for the players, the staff, they look around and go, come on, we can do better than that. And they can. They can do better than that. Now, as far as the team on the field, they did pretty good. Again, this is a Troy team that lost a lot on the defensive side, not as much on the offensive side, although they had a new starting quarterback who ended up getting hurt in Goose Crowder. But I thought Memphis played really well. I thought they did 2 things incredibly well that they did not do the first week. 1, play physical football. They were called out by their coaches. I thought they played very physical, got chippy that game. Number 2, they ran the ball. That is a hat off to the offensive line, and that is an acknowledgement to the running backs. Sutton Smith, we got the news, as expected after the game, that he is out for the year. So a lot of the pressure now falls on the shoulders of the transfer Mario Anderson, the transfer Greg DeWosier, Brandon Thomas, who had a couple of short touchdown runs, and they ran for 211 yards on 29 carries. Now, it's going to be a lot tougher against Florida State, despite an 0-2 record. But that was a great sign to see the running game.
Yeah, and Troy in week 1 gave up a bunch of rushing yards, so you figured you had a chance to really get the running game going, and they were able to do that. And Anderson certainly is, through the 2 games, has looked the part. He's faster than I thought he was. Honestly, I didn't. Mm-hmm. There was a run early in that game where he kind of turned the corner. And I was like, I didn't realize he had that speed. But yeah, and so really the first 2 games, they haven't had to. It's just been kind of workmanlike efforts. They haven't had to show a whole lot offensively. They haven't really. I mean, they've just kind of went out, took care of business both games, did what they're supposed to do, and now set up this week at Florida State. So it's. Yeah, it's kind of just doing what you were supposed to do through 2 games. You can't can't complain about really anything. They've just taken care of business.
And fairly vanilla with the play calling, right? They haven't
you don't have to.
showcased any trick plays, anything. You're saving them. They haven't. You're right. They haven't had to do that. Now, early on that first drive, after they deferred and got the ball, they were with the wind, so they were trying to take advantage of it. And the first few throws by Seth were sailing because that wind was ferocious. And I talked to him after the game, and he said the hardest part about being a quarterback in the elements, it's not so much rain. Wind's okay if it's steady. He said when there's gusts, it affects you. And there were gusts that were well over 25 miles per hour, and consistency probably between 15 and 20 with the winds. So Seth took a few throws to get adjusted. He got adjusted, but they didn't really need a 400-yard game from him. He was 20 of 32, yeoman-like, 161 yards, a touchdown. I think he had 24, 25 yards rushing. I got that right in front of me. 24. So it was fine. It was, again, he's a leader out there. He knows what he's doing. But the running game was there, the blocking from that offensive line, and then defensively, they give up 251 total yards. Once again, stellar defensive effort. They have a lot more depth. It's not just Chandler Martin when you throw Elijah Herring next to him, the Tennessee transfer. They're good. Defensively, they're improved. Now, the challenges will be against Florida State and then down the road playing the likes of Tulane. We saw what they're capable of doing offensively. A South Florida team that went toe-to-toe with Alabama again for most of that game. So there's going to be challenges, but right now, very good.
Yeah, I think the defense is better. Elijah Herring is a difference maker, and him with Chandler Martin, that combination at linebacker, that they are tackling machines. Certainly, that is good to see. They've been good. Now, these two offenses they faced,
not a big challenge.
They're not very good.
Right.
So it's hard to really get a gauge of how improved they are, but I do think they are better than what they were last year. And we'll see this week. Again, it's not that this is not Florida State's offense from last year, but still, it's Florida State. Like they're not, and with 2 weeks basically to prepare, I would expect that Mike Norvell is going to come with some things. They're desperate for a win, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, I do definitely think. I mean, with Herring in there, and just overall, this defense has definitely improved from last year.
Yeah, the key to what you just said was a desperate Florida State team. They have the hosses. They have the talent. They've been a disappointment. It's not like they're going to lose that talent. Now, can their quarterback play better? He's been very inconsistent throughout his career. He certainly has the physical traits. He has the physical tools. Doesn't mean he'll do it. Can Memphis get pressure on him? Can Memphis win the line of scrimmage? Because the first two games for Florida State, Georgia Tech certainly did, and then Boston College did. But we'll talk much more about that game as the week progresses. Of course, Coach will join us on Thursday, but it's going to be a lot of fun. It's weird, though, that we go into the week of the Florida State game where Memphis is the ranked team, not in the AP poll, but in the coaches poll at number 25, and Florida State is not when they started the year number 10.
Yeah, that's a little strange to say the least. Would not have guessed. I don't think anybody in the world would have guessed that 2 weeks into the year, Florida State would not be ranked. But that's where they are, and yeah, they are going to be really, really desperate. I mean, this is a game where they have to kind of pull out all the stops to try and get a win. They 0-3 would be an absolute disaster for them. So I would expect to see them coming with everything they've got, anything they can do. They're going to be throwing it at the Tigers.
The line is out. Florida State, a 6-point favorite.
It's a little more than I thought it would be, honestly. I was thinking more around a field goal. But in the end, it's you bettors will look at it and see the name Florida State, see the name Memphis, and think Florida State. So there's going to be an idea, regardless of record, that Florida State just is better than Memphis.
One other thing from the game, which was, I thought, really, really cool. We're only weeks away from the Grizzlies opening up training camp, and John Morant was not only there at the game, but really into it. And he was high-fiving and chest-bumping with players after touchdowns. He was throwing T-shirts into the crowd, or at least trying to, because the wind was blowing the T-shirts back to Ja as he tried to throw them up into the stands. But he was really engaged. It was great to see him out there having a good time. His father T was with him, and I'm sure that delighted a lot of people at the stadium to see Ja Morant.
Yeah, good to see him out there, and he was interacting with the fans down there. He looked like he was having a good time. That's good to see him out there supporting the Tigers.
So in the coaches poll that was released yesterday, Georgia 1, Ohio State 2. Both have looked dominant. Texas has looked dominant as well. There are 3 in the coaches poll. Then Alabama 4, Ole Miss is up to 5, Mizzou is 8th, Tennessee is 9th, Oklahoma from the SEC 13th. 17th is LSU, and the University of Memphis Tigers, number 25. In the AP poll, Georgia won as well, 54 first-place votes, but Texas is 2 in the writers' poll. They got 4 first-place votes after demolishing Michigan and Ann Arbor. Ohio State is 3, so they're flip-flop from the coaches' poll. They got 5 first-place votes. Then Alabama and Ole Miss, Mizzou 6, and Tennessee 7. Captain Math will tell you 6 of the top 7 from the SEC. You also have Oklahoma at 15th, LSU 16th. Now the Tigers, if you stretched it out, they would be 30th with 38 points. They'd be behind Boise, even though Boise lost, and we'll talk about them and the loss to Oregon in a great battle when we get to our national game roundup. But again, Memphis getting the accolades, but as far as the poll is concerned, the SEC, although they took some tough losses over the weekend, more so their middle to bottom teams, but the top of the Delta Pledge class looking strong.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, it's crazy, really. I mean, obviously the numbers keep increasing in these conferences, but for one conference to have 6 of the top 7 teams is crazy. It's just that should not happen.
It's early, and they'll start weeding each other out because of cannibalism. But yeah, that's nuts. Although I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked whatsoever. But again, there were some games in which they were the underdog and could have pulled off some nice upsets over the weekend. Did not happen. We'll talk about that and all things SEC. Ole Miss rolling right along. We'll do that when we return. If you got a comment, a question, hit us up on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines at 901-360-8255. Town Village Audubon Park is senior living in today's world. They offer more options to fit your needs more than ever before. They are certainly dedicated to the long-term satisfaction and the quality of life for the residents. All they ask is that you're 55 years of age or older. So it may be for you down the road, for your golden years, a parent, a grandparent, a loved one in general. Town Village Audubon Park is located at 950 Cherry Road, just off Park Avenue in the heart of East Memphis. You can call them, set up a tour. I'd advise you to do so. 901-537-0002 or online at townvillageaudubonpark.com. Find out more about them on their website. Independent living, short-term respite stay, monthly options may be the way to go. Great event schedule. They have activities galore for their residents. Everything you need to continue to enjoy life to its fullest. Some of the basic services include apartments with full kitchen, washer, and dryer, all-inclusive resort-style dining with multiple venues, bi-weekly housekeeping, outpatient therapy, and then community amenities, including a social area that has a fitness center, a home theater, game rooms, indoor pool, whirlpool, bistro, fruit stand, 24-hour pantry, Village Nook convenience store, beauty salon, library, computer center. Do you get the gist here? They have everything you need. Resident gardening areas, 5 landscape courtyards, a dog park, and gated parking. It's Town Village Audubon Park. When you're thinking about those golden years for you or a loved one, give them a call at 901-537-0002 or online at townvillageaudubonpark.com. Just underway on a Monday, this is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Welcome to Triumph Auto Sales, where you'll have a great car buying experience. Triumph Auto Sales is your number one source of quality pre-owned vehicles ranging from lease returns to new car trades, all at huge savings. Plus, Triumph has a full array of financing options to meet your needs. Find your next car online at TriumphAutoSales.com or stop in today at 4875 Elmore Road. Triumph Auto Sales will help you get the vehicle you want at the price you need and the service you deserve. For a great car and a great experience from a local and family-owned business, visit Triumph Auto Sales.
When you think about insurance and you want great value without sacrificing great service, I want you to think one place, the Eflin Insurance and the entire Eflin Insurance team. Matt and his group of professionals will access 10 leading companies to find the right home and auto program that fits your budget and your absolute needs. The Eflin Insurance team, the number 386-GER, 386-4777.
Hi, I'm Chandler Martin, linebacker for the University of Memphis football. You need cash? Refinance your auto loan with Southern Security and have no payment for 60 days. Southern Security will finance up to 115% of the current value of your vehicle for up to 72 months. To find out how to put more cash in your pocket, call our member service team at 901-452-7900 or apply on our website, southernsecurity.org. Southern Security is a proud supporter of University of Memphis Athletics. Southern Security, your home team credit union. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. For nearly 2 decades, we've installed some of the best roof systems across the Mid-South. To the tens of thousands of clients we've served, we are honored. So many of you call our team at Brian Elder Roofing your roofers. Our team is dedicated to serving you and keeping your family safe, dry, and mold-free. The recent hailstorms have caused massive damage, and many of these will go unnoticed for years, even though the golf ball-sized hail we just experienced in the Mid-South compromises even the best-built roof system. Whether we find damage or not, your photos are securely stored for future reference. Call Brian Elder Roofing today for a total evaluation of your entire roof system free. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. Call me at 901-867-0303. That's 901-867-0303. Or visit us online at brianelderroofing.com.
Listen each and every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. and join Ottawa Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawa is an ACUSA church located in town Memphis.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning, MPD. Still gathered up on the scene of this situation over here on 3rd, right over 55. First, they dispatched it as a wreck. Then it changed into what they call now a police situation. But again, it's still an investigation going on of some sort on 3rd over 55. Traffic's trying to pick up with some volume right now. 55 coming up through DeSoto County all the way into South Haven. It still looks pretty good over here right now. Ossipee Highway, you get up on that ramp there to I-40. Weimer's Jewelry, serving the Memphis area for over 40 years. No matter what the occasion is, make sure you stop by and see them first at Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Welcome back, 7:27 the time, hour one, here on this Monday edition of Sports 56 Mornings. Greg, Eli, and Zach will get into the SEC and the national games from the college football weekend in just a moment. But continuing on about the Tigers win and the lack of attendance, our good friend Tony, big staunch supporter of Memphis Tiger Athletics, joins us now on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines. Hey, Tony, how are you?
Good morning, guys. You guys doing okay?
Doing great, thank you.
I think that from what I saw on TV, that crowd size was ridiculous, man. And, I bought 2 tickets to the game, and I can't go. Over the past few months, man, I had got something called Guillain-Barré syndrome. I lost my ability to walk.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
I'm on the comeback. I took my first steps Friday.
Oh, that's
and as soon as October comes, I plan on being at the game, but I challenge people, man. That was ridiculous. Like I said, I buy 2 tickets, and I knew I couldn't go, but I want to support the university. And, I mean, we got a good team. I mean, this is the first time that I saw us on the defensive side in a long time, probably But since maybe Mike Norvell's team that won the championship, I mean, it's something for us to be proud of. And, man, it's no excuse for people to go to that game. I mean, it was an exciting game. I even saw people on Facebook complaining about John and him having a band purse. Who cares? He was at the game.
It was a lovely man purse.
At least he was there.
Hey, Tony, get well. Get well, my friend, okay?
Hey, I got to say this, man, because and it's not just to say this. You have said something about these people. The people at the Wooden Clinic, they work for me. They've been helping me. I went to them before this happened. But I'm telling you, all props to them on getting me back because the progress that I've been making, and people tell me that in a matter of 6 weeks that some people have made progress that I've made in 6 months. But I'm a fighter to the end. I was born 2.5 months early. I started walking at 9 months. And this, I don't wish this on my worst enemy.
Yeah.
A lot of people need to educate themselves on it. But I'll be walking through that gate, to that turnstile, come either at the end of this month or sometime in October by my birthday.
We'll be rooting for you, my friend.
Awesome,
Thanks,
Tony.
Tony. Appreciate it. Oh, you too. Take care. Yeah, I mean, look, Tony's a big Tiger fan. There's a lot of big Tiger fans. Look, I understand there's a lot of transplants. There's a lot of people who live in the big city, work in the big city, and have their allegiance to one of the other regional teams. Understandable. I get it. I just can't believe that a city that has well over 1 million, including the suburbs and all that, can't get more than you said. What did you think it was?
I don't think there was 15,000 people there.
I mean, come on. I don't get it.
There certainly wasn't 20.
I don't get it. I really don't. Not with a season with high expectations and a team that's this good, whether they win this weekend or not, that's not going to derail them from their goal, right? Their goal is still to get to the conference championship and win the conference championship. And then we'll see what happens, right?
Tiger Steve texts in. He says, "It was my first Tiger football game in a while. It was awesome. Atmosphere was incredible. The construction was very clean and professional looking. And the beer was very cold, too." That always adds to the you ought to make sure you have that. Yeah, I mean, the fans that are there are good, really good.
The ones that are there love it, yes.
They're great. They make noise. It's everything else. It'd just be nice to have, like, twice that many people there.
I agree.
And fill it up. And again, yes, with the construction here, like they did a really nice job of like making that over there look, with that little walkway, everything else. It kind of
looks presentable.
It looks very nice.
Yes.
I mean, the bottom line is you got a massive construction thing going on. There's only so much you can do, but like it looks nice. And they put a nice little area over there with the walkway behind those seats and everything else. And so they're doing what they can as far as that is concerned. I don't know what the situation was, if it was better this week getting in and out, all of that stuff. I don't know. But, I mean, it seemed from what I saw, there weren't any massive long lines and people having problems getting in. It seemed like everything was operating just fine.
Well, this goes back to last week and what AD Ed Scott said to the Board of Trustees about how important it is to get these walk-up tickets because they're down like 3,000, I think, as far as season tickets are concerned. They are dependent upon these walk-up sales, and they are already behind the 8 ball big time because they're looking at trying to get $900,000 in revenue from walk-up sales. They're not going to come close unless they have huge crowds the rest of the way at home. Their next home game will be Middle Tennessee State in 3 weeks. Again, I'm tired of talking about it, but you know the situation. If you are a Memphis alum or just a proud Memphian and support the University of Memphis, it really goes a long way to help them because they lose revenue. They lose a lot of revenue with what's going on and what's taking place with the drives that they are right now in the middle of, trying to raise money for the renovations, trying to raise money for the Liza Fletcher soccer complex, trying to raise money for everything over at the University of Memphis. Okay, we move on to the SEC where money is not an object. And these teams are stacked. We just talked about the AP poll. The top, or 6 of the top 7, are from the SEC. That includes Texas. Texas, in the marquee game of the weekend, at least one of them, went up to Ann Arbor to play the defending champions, and they beat them bad, 31-12.
Yeah, it was. They look. They are what we expected, I think, from Texas. Quinn Ewers is really, really good. Their defense is good, and it's also kind of what we expected that Michigan. Michigan lost a ton from last year, including their head coach, and it's it shows on Michigan as well. That was a thorough domination by Texas. Michigan never really had a chance. It was just it was a dominating effort, and Texas certainly is in that conversation of teams that 100% can win the championship.
I think right now, and I try not to make a judgment after 1 week, but I could start to make a judgment after 2 weeks. I think the Big Ten, other than Ohio State, is a little weak. Penn State barely beats Bowling Green. Oregon has struggled for 2 straight weeks, but survived at home. And I look at all these other schools, the Wisconsins, the Iowas who lose to Iowa State, blow a lead to Iowa State, lose at home. Minnesota, Illinois, my Maryland Terrapins, Michigan State is horrible and they beat Maryland. There's a lot of bad teams. There's a lot of bad teams in the Big Ten. There's Ohio State. I'm not so sure about Oregon. I'm not so sure about Penn State. Michigan's down, and Michigan State's really down, and then the rest of them. It's not a strong league. Yet they're going to get at least 3 in.
Certainly they don't have what the SEC has. I mean, again, when you're talking 6 of the top 7 teams in the country right now in the AP poll, they don't. Ohio State is without question one of the most talented teams in the country.
Maybe the most talented.
They are really, really good. And then Oregon. Oregon has not looked good through the first 2 weeks. Not what we expect from them.
Their defense is awful.
It'll just kind of be can they put it together? Dan Lanning certainly knows defense, and can they get that figured out? That will be the question with them. And then Penn State's Penn State. Penn State will probably beat just about everybody on the schedule except for when they play the good teams at the top of the Big Ten, just like they do every single year.
Right.
And in a 12-team playoff, that might be enough to get them in.
So speaking of the 12-team playoff, a team that I have felt from day one that is going to make the playoffs. I made my predictions. I have them beating Alabama. Tennessee looks awesome. And they blew out NC State. I know NC State struggled against Western Carolina, so maybe they're not as good as advertised in an ACC, which also, like the Big Ten, has a bunch of teams that we thought were really good that may be weak. But Tennessee, taking nothing away from them, they got a running back, they got a quarterback, they got a defense playing really well. 51-10 in Charlotte.
Yeah, I thought they would blow out NC State. I don't think I thought it would be 51-10. With Josh Heupel, the whole thing has always been like if he could get a defense, like if you put a defense that can just be average to above average with his offense, his offense is always going to score points.
Right.
Nico certainly is doing what is expected of him. Dylan Sampson is a fantastic running back. Mm-hmm. And now that defense, maybe this is a little bit on NC State not being great offensively, but I mean, it's still like that defense for Tennessee looks good, looks really, really good. And yeah, that's they are certainly a dangerous team that has the ability certainly to not only make the playoff, but if they're going to get that defensive play, like they're a team that can advance and do whatever you want. Because again, they're going to score points. I don't care who's out there with Josh Heupel, they're going to score points. When you actually put a really good quarterback and you've got good weapons and you got a good running back, they're definitely going to score points. If that defense could continue to do what they're doing, that is a really dangerous team.
Yeah, I know the history against the Florida Gators, but they got them at home. They beat them the last time at home. That's not going to be a problem. It's going to be that Alabama showdown that I cannot wait to see. That game will be on the 19th of October. I think this second weekend every October, whatever, or would that be the third weekend? But anyway, that's the one I've really penciled and circled to see what Tennessee can do. Can they get over that hump when it comes to playing Alabama? But another team that fits the same mold as you just described with Tennessee is Ole Miss. An incredible offense that can score at will. Are they improved defensively? It's tough to tell through their first two opponents, even though they've done great, because the opponents are not the caliber of the teams they'll play in the league. But I think they're much improved with Pete Golding. I know the players that they were able to go out and get. And again, another day at the office offensively, Jackson Dart on his way to maybe, when it's all said and done, winning a Heisman. 52-3 over Middle Tennessee State.
Yeah, the Dart Trey Harris combination has been everything that was expected. Then this week it's Henry Parrish, who runs for 165 and 4 touchdowns. They kind of go, this Ulysses Bentley, the fourth, didn't hardly play till late in the game. Somewhat of a weird situation there, but they've got guys at the running back position they can rotate in there. Again, the receivers, Juice Wells got it going as well, along with Harris. We know what Caden Prieskorn does. Dart was perfect for most of the game till a couple of incompletions late. Now they did, Middle Tennessee State moved the ball. Had 3 trips, I think, inside the red zone against them. But some of that was late as well when the game was well out of reach. But yeah, if they, again, don't need to be a great defense, just be an average defense, because that offense, that is crazy good offense. They are. I mean, again, they're just so, you look around, it's hard to try and guard everybody. If you're a defense trying to match up with those receivers, it's a really difficult task.
I had David Johnson on Friday. You were off, and I said, is it running back by committee? Because it's not going to be – we went into the season thinking, okay, Bentley's going to take over for Judkins, who's now at Ohio State. I never thought Bentley was a number one running back, to be honest with you. And all of a sudden now here comes Parrish, who looks fantastic. They got a pretty deep running back room, even when they lost Judkins to Ohio State. But I never thought it was Bentley, and Bentley will still pay dividends, I think. But Parrish looks like he's the real deal. And then I had brought up with David, and I said, David, I know this is going down the sacrilegious boulevard, but when it's all said and done, Jackson Dart comparable to Eli? And he started to talk about nobody's comparable to Eli, and of course he wasn't around for Archie and all that stuff. But Dart's numbers,
the numbers he's going to put
nuts.
up this year are going to be. He's going to. I'm assuming if he stays healthy, he's going to set probably every single season record there is for quarterbacks.
That's what I'm saying. Why wouldn't
one just the number of games you play, but he's also 377. He's going to be well over 300 yards probably every game.
Yeah. So I don't think it's that crazy to bring that up. All right, when we come back, we continue talking SEC football and a few that got away for SEC teams.
This side of the program is brought to you by the Big Green Egg. Go to BigGreenEgg.com for all the details on the best grill there is. If you've been thinking about a new grill, don't think about anything else other than the Big Green Egg. And don't get, when you look at it and go, oh my gosh, can it really be worth that? Yes, it can. It's life-changing when it comes to grills. And plus, you get the lifetime warranty, so you don't have to worry about buying a new grill every couple of years. The Big Green Egg is going to last you a lifetime. Get BigGreenEgg.com, or you can go to the Ace Hardware stores here in town, Hamilton Fireplace. They carry the Big Green Egg. You can see the 7 different sizes of the egg, the egg accessories that they have to make it where you can really do whatever you want to do, including bake a cake on your Big Green Egg. It's all possible. Again, BigGreenEgg.com is the website.
This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hi, fellas. Bill Russell
Russell at Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers. It's almost football time now. The days are getting shorter, the weather's changing, and we all are beginning to at least think about Christmas. But between now and Christmas, many of you may have a special lady with a birthday or an anniversary to celebrate, an occasion to show her how much you care. Jewelry, no matter the reason, is always the best gift to let her know how important she is, and we can help you. Visit us at 4646 Poplar. Come see our wide selection of the finest jewelry in Memphis, jewelry that's guaranteed to make her happy. Come see the most magnificent diamonds and gemstones that truly dance with beauty and will put a smile on her face. Men, we can help you find just the perfect piece, the piece that says I love you. For years, we've offered the most stunning jewelry in Memphis, and when you couple that jewelry with our quality, beauty, value, and service, you'll be glad you joined the Russell Brothers Fine Jewelry family. Come see us at 4646 Poplar at Perkins, Russell Brothers Jewelers.
They're taking care of beerness in Memphis right on the river with Grind City Brewing and all of their great products. Look, this was a dream come true for a father and son duo. And if you have not been to that brewery right on the river, just to the north of downtown, you're really missing something special. And now you can't miss their products. Wherever you go, you see a brand new label. It's clean, it's beautiful, it's distinctive. You'll know Grind City Brewing, and of course you know their products like Poppy's Pills, that great Pilsner, or Tiger Tail, that very creative craft malt liquor. There's the new Thaddeus Amber Lager. That is absolutely a great light beer. There's the India Pale called Godhopper. It's outstanding. And then there's the Belga, the Belgian-style wheat ale. They keep bringing hits at Grind City Brewing.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled, and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. Five Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. Five Ash Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today at 901-382-2363 or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Welcome back, everyone. So my heart sort of dropped when I saw the end result of the Oklahoma State-Arkansas game, and it did because our man love for Sam Pittman, friend of the show. Good start last week over an overmatched Pine Bluff team in which they blew them out. This past weekend, they had a chance to win in Stillwater over one of the better teams in the Big 12. And in the end, they lose in double overtime, 39-31. Again, they were not expected to win, but Sam Pittman, those are the type of games you have to win to keep your job.
Not only did they have a chance, they had about 45 chances. I am dumbfounded how they found a way to lose that game. They just kept trying to lose it, really. And Oklahoma State was not willing to take it for a long time. And then finally,
both missed the field goals.
It was a comedy of errors. Arkansas, from the time they led 21-7, I had the one fumble where the running back just drops the pitch, the muff punt. I still don't. They one time they went for it on the 4th and 5 from like the 25-yard line instead of kicking the field goal, which I didn't understand that one. The end of the games, they should have. They damn near lost it in regulation because I don't know what the hell they were doing. I don't think, like, the clock is ticking down with like 5 seconds to go, and they're snapping the football and throw a pass where if the receiver catches it, the game was going to be over. And I don't think he dropped it on purpose. I think he just dropped the ball, which was the luckiest thing that could happen. I don't like what are you guys all doing? What does nobody recognize? Is there nobody literally on this entire team that recognizes you're about to just run the clock out and lose the football game? It was, and then you get into overtime, miss the field goal at Oklahoma State, which I'll never understand coaches who just like
played for the field goal,
like just have confidence in college kickers. Like they literally did nothing. They were just fine with we're going to try a field goal from the 25-yard line, basically, and that's it. And then, of course, yes, they're going to miss because that's what they do. College kickers screw up in those situations. But then Arkansas, the next drive, and I know people are complaining about the personal foul penalty, but, I mean, the whistles were blowing for like 3 or 4 seconds, and then the guy body slams him. They're going to call that. They're just going to call that as that's going to be unnecessary roughness. Like, it was, to outgain somebody 655 to 278 and lose the game. It just...
You can't put it on Petrino.
No. Again, I mean, like the end of the game management, that belongs to everybody. But again,
that's the head coach.
They got lucky and found a way to have a receiver drop a ball just at the right time. Jaquindon Jackson was awesome. Oklahoma State could not stop him.
Arkansas always finds a running back or two.
Green was good. For people, and I think the game, I think the line ended up at Oklahoma State -7.5. If you bet Oklahoma State -7.5 in that game, you should be thanking your lucky stars.
Right.
There is no point in that game there's no way they should have ever covered that spread. No way they should have ever covered that spread. And yet, Arkansas found a way to let them do it. Ollie Gordon, Arkansas, shut down Ollie Gordon. He couldn't do anything. So he gets the touchdown run in the second overtime. But, they were running the ball at will. Ollie Gordon couldn't run the ball. They were dominating the game. There's no way in the world they should have lost that game. Sam Pittman's got to be sick. Just absolutely sick.
I'm sick for him.
To end up losing that game. That would have been a huge win for him in the whole trying to keep your job scheme. That would have been. Now, and maybe this is a sign that Arkansas is better than we thought. Again, defensively, completely shutting down Ollie Gordon. That's not easy to do. He's really, really good. I've seen Jaquindon Jackson do what he did. Green looks good. Maybe Arkansas is better than we thought, but goodness gracious, you just cannot let that game get away.
All right, let's get to I'm very, very surprised with the result of these games portion of the show. Cal goes into Jordan Hare beats Auburn 21-14.
Peyton Thorne is terrible. Auburn doesn't have a quarterback.
Still, you can't let Cal come in.
You can't when you throw 4 interceptions. They don't have a quarterback. Hugh Freeze needs a quarterback for his offense. He does not have one right now.
4 interceptions, that'll kill you every single time. But my gosh, losing to Cal, I really had high hopes for Auburn to be much improved. I still think they got the right guy for the job, and he will get a quarterback. But yeah, going into the season, Thorne was very low on my list of SEC quarterbacks. How about this one? I did not expect this one. South Carolina goes into Commonwealth Stadium in Lexington and beats up on Mark Stoops' team 31-6.
Yeah, that was not one anybody saw. But Kentucky Kentucky could do nothing. Brock Vandegrift was just awful in his time in there.
They were getting so much pressure on him.
That looked like a complete mismatch. that one really surprises me. I don't think South Carolina's that good. There was no way I would have ever expected them to go in there and blow out Kentucky.
One of my best plays of the weekend was South Florida getting 31 against Alabama. The game is a 1-point game. We're into the fourth quarter. I mean, this is crazy. South Florida played Alabama so tough last year in I believe it was a rainstorm in Tampa. Here they are in Tuscaloosa. I'm thinking, okay, they'll lose by 3 touchdowns, and eventually they lost by 3.5. But they're going toe to toe. I didn't watch the game. All of a sudden, I'm looking at the score, going, all right, Alabama scored again. Alabama scored again, and now I'm starting to freak out that they're not even going to end up covering. But in the end, they did because time ran out. So that game is absolutely one of those games where you go, the score is not indicative of the way that game went. Alabama wins 42-16, and it was a tight game.
Yeah, I mean, they had the 3 touchdowns in, 4 minutes, big play after big play. But, yeah, I mean, it was a struggle for most of the night for Alabama. And, I don't know, South Florida just seems to have something with Alabama. I don't know. Everybody, there's a lot of teams across the country that would need to be talking to Alex Golesh and what is your secret against Alabama? How do you guys do this against Alabama?
That is the team that worries me, concerns me the most in the American Conference for Memphis. That's why I picked South Florida to beat Memphis. I think they're really, really good, and they gave Alabama fits despite the final score ending up 42-16. A couple of other scores really don't need any comments. Georgia rolls over Tennessee Tech 48-3. Texas A&M all over McNeese 52-10 as they bounce back from the loss to Notre Dame. LSU over Nichols 44-21. Vandy now 2-0, blowing out Alcorn State 55-0. Mizzou 38-0 over Buffalo. And then there was Florida 45-7 over Sanford. DJ Lagway gets his first start. The true freshman, 18 of 25, 456 yards and 3 touchdowns. Pretty good day at the office.
You like making your first career start against the FCS opponent. It's a good way to step into the role.
Absolutely. Game I watched, late game, Arizona State beat Mississippi State 30-23. Arizona State was in control throughout that game. Mississippi State came back on them a little bit late, but Arizona State wins. I thought Mississippi State, I didn't expect them to win, but I thought they'd play much tougher physically.
Yeah, I mean, they're not very good. It's going to be a tough year for Mississippi State, but I do think with Jeff Levy there, they're offensively, they're going to get better. I would assume they'll start scoring more points as the year goes along. Him and his offense is just does that, but yeah, a little disappointing, I think, for them going out there and getting down the way they did, and certainly made it competitive in the end, but early on it was not.
And then finally, Oklahoma, now 2-0, beats Houston 16-12. Willie Fritz's team now 0-2. But if you come away from that impressed by Oklahoma, I don't know what you were watching.
No, I mean, that's a Houston team that is struggling. They were not competitive in week 1 against UNLV, and then to take Oklahoma down to the wire, yeah, that is not a that of there were some impressive things from the SEC. That was not one of them.
Not one of them.
But Oklahoma's still a top 15 team.
A win's a win.
In the end, they get a win. It's a win when you go to Genesis Diamonds. Poplar and Perkins Extended, that's where you'll find them. If you're looking for a special piece of jewelry for a special occasion, maybe you're thinking about getting engaged, whatever it is that you need that piece of jewelry for, go see the folks at Genesis Diamonds. Always got new stuff coming in from all the top designers. They carry all of those top designers' lines of jewelry, stuff that you won't find anywhere else in Memphis. Unbelievable prices, something for every budget out there. Whatever it is that you're looking for, they've got you taken care of. They've got a great staff to help you find it as well. Not working on commission, not there to pressure you into buying something more expensive, just there to help you pick out a perfect piece of jewelry. Poplar and Perkins Extended, that's where you'll find them, Genesis Diamonds.
All right, when we come back, we open up hour 2. We'll talk about some of the national games, including one of the biggest upsets you've ever seen. We'll also talk some Memphis Grizzlies news from the weekend, Memphis Tigers news, including the possibility of a new assistant on Penny Hardaway's staff, and what Penny had to say to John Rothstein from CBS Sports. We'll go into all of that. We'll get into the NFL. We got some storylines from the NFL, and then much more in the NFL on our Tuesday edition of Sports 56 Mornings. Barrett Salih joins us at 9:05. We got some other news as well, including a return of a former Memphis Tiger baseball standout who came back over the weekend to play in a game at AutoZone Park. We'll talk about that on the program. And again, your calls and texts on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines at 901-360-8255. You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Yes, you could go to some chain restaurant for breakfast. Lots of people do. It's the obvious choice. Or you could go to Memphis's favorite homegrown breakfast places, Sunrise on Jefferson or Sunrise East on Poplar. Sunrise is a Memphis original, and you can rely on getting a fast, fresh breakfast, or lunch for that matter, with nothing coming off of the back of a truck frozen. Whether it's breakfast or lunch, it's all made right here in Memphis. There's a reason why the two locations of Sunrise are the Memphis destinations for great, fast, fresh food. It's Sunrise.
If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know. Binswanger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 145 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Binswanger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. Visit Binswanger Glass in Midtown at 340 South Hollywood, across from the Liberty Bowl. Visit binswingerglass.com. Binswanger Glass.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
Simple, smooth, and every sip as easy as the last. Tito's handmade vodka tastes just as good with tap water as it does your favorite mixers. Back in the day, Tito distilled, hand-bottled, taste-tested, sent out to a few friends, then taste-tested again to give you the finest juice around. No frills, no flavors, no fancy labels, just the good stuff, just Tito's. For recipes, videos, and more, visit Tito'sVodka.com. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas, 40% alcohol by volume, mainly 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss Sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
Traffic brought to you by 901 Eats to Go, 3135 Kirby Whitten Road in Bartlett. Pick up, DoorDash, Uber Eats, or online at 901eats.com. Eats with a Z. Good food fast.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. Wrapping up that earlier crash on 240 westbound at Airways. Also, they're still on the scene of this police activity over here on 3rd, right over 55. It's building out here where you would expect, coming down 385 Billmores Parkway, getting on to 240. Weimer's Jewelry, serving the Memphis area now for over 40 years. No matter what the occasion is, make sure you check with Weimer's Jewelry first at 7525 Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10.
Now, back to Sports 56 Mornings.
Isn't it a lovely morning?
On Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers. Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back. 8:03 the time. Hour 2 here on Sports 56 Mornings. The Monday September 9th, 2024 edition. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Zach Boyd with you from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, biggest spa sale in the world going on right now at 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Currently 56 degrees. 86, though, for a high today, so we'll heat up very quickly. Then tonight we're looking at clear skies with a low of 63. Hour number 2 of the program is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers. They are your family's jeweler at 4900 Poplar between Mendenhall and St. Nick, on the web at gaddisjewelers.com. Tomorrow, Jay Gaddis is going to join us to talk a little bit about their big anniversary special, which is coming up. They're celebrating 25 years on Poplar Avenue and 52 years in the city of Memphis. They are your bridal engagement and anniversary jeweler headquarters. They got a big sale coming up, and we'll talk about that tomorrow. But every Monday and Friday, they bring you the Memphis Sports Fact. Yes, brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers. Did you know the 7th-ranked University of Memphis women's soccer team improved to 5-0 with a 2-0 win Sunday versus Kansas State? Memphis extends their nation-high home winning streak to 15 games. They have yet to trail this year in 450 minutes. Brooks Monaghan's team just keeps on keeping on. James Gaddis Jewelers. Check them out at 4900 Poplar Avenue, right between Mendenhall and St. Nick.
A few text messages. Raider Corey talking about the Tigers said, bottom line is some Memphis fans, they only like to attend games when the stadium is packed and full. Troy in northern Alabama doesn't do it for some. That's lunacy. Our fans must get better. At least go get a Pronto Pup and a local beer.
Nothing wrong with that.
According to Tiger Steve, the beer was really cold. So,
plus the stadium's really clean. They did a great job power washing it. The renovations are not, like you said, in the way that people are having a tough time getting around. I don't know. I just, again, I can do this ad nauseum. It's hopefully it'll change, but right now it doesn't look like. Doesn't appear that way.
Another texter, so Tennessee's offense gave up more points than the defense did with the pick six. It would have been 51-3.
And there you go.
Also, what the heck did Arkansas do? Very undisciplined at the end. Yes, again. There's a couple others on Arkansas. One says the Arkansas quarterback is the leader in the clubhouse for having the lowest IQ awareness of time and score. Another one says time management on the quarterback late in the fourth quarter lost that game. But again, they're like, you also have coaches on the sideline. They weren't doing anything about it.
No, it's a collective effort of failure. Talon Green is a talented quarterback.
They can talk to him.
I don't like him.
They're in his ear. They can literally be talking to him during those situations. And they're just.
I mean, 15 seconds to go in the play clock. Yes.
It was mind-boggling.
I don't know.
To watch what they did. The swing of emotions in that, if you did have a bet on that game, because I actually had it in a teaser. So I had Oklahoma State -3. I gave up 4 different times on winning the bet. Then I was like, wait a second, I might push this bet. I can actually push it. And then Arkansas drives down and gets the field goal at the time. I'm like, oh gosh. Then Arkansas misses the field goal. I'm like, okay, I can still push. All I can do is push, just push. And then he misses that field goal. I'm like, oh god.
Push it real good.
I was like, what's going to end up happening? They're going to go to the battle of 2-point conversions, and Oklahoma State's going to win by 2. And luckily, somehow they found a way to win by 8, which I still haven't figured out how.
There are, as people know who gamble a little bit, freaky ways to win, freaky ways to lose. And then, of course, there's the old Gaston reliable, have the guy you bet on get hurt, which always seems to happen now that the NFL has opened up. But back to college, some of the national games of prominence. We talked about, very briefly, Penn State hanging on to beat Bowling Green in Happy Valley. Not impressive, but a win's a win, 34-27. For those who have kind of come to the conclusion that because Tulane lost their quarterback and their coach, they're not going to be good, they're going to be good. Tulane has a lot of speed, and it looks like they found a replacement for Michael Pratt. However, unfortunately, they got some holes defensively, and Kansas State was able to come back and win in New Orleans 34-27. So a golden opportunity for the American to pick up a big win against a Power 5, Power 4 school.
Yeah, the quarterback Mensa looks good.
He looks really good.
And the offensive pass interference call to overturn the game-tying touchdown. At first, I thought it was an okay call. Then I went back and watched it. That's an awful call.
It is.
I don't know what that. I mean, because at first, when I first saw it, I thought the receiver should have done a better job of acting. Like it looked a little like he was blocking the guy, but the guy was like, all he did was come off the line, and the guy was right there in front of him. Like he was going to run into the defender because that's where the defender was standing. So that's a rough call to take away that touchdown. But yeah, Tulane offensively, Mekhi Hughes is still good running the ball. Mensah good. The what's his name? The transfer from USC, the receiver, he's good. Mario Williams.
They have a lot of speed.
That they're certainly going to be a tough out in the American.
Now, a team from the American that really struggled was UTSA. They got crushed by Texas State. G.J. Kinney's team, that's a team to keep an eye on, possibly for the group of 5 spot in the 12-team playoff. Texas State buried UTSA 49-10.
Yeah, that's not a good look for the American. That's not if UTSA is one of the best teams in the American. That is not a good representation of what the top of the American is like. That was just brutal.
And Texas State does not have a tough schedule. I know people have been talking about Liberty. I was keeping up with that game. They somehow survived on the road at New Mexico State. They were losing the entire game. So Liberty, again, please, I don't care if they go undefeated. Liberty is not, they're not even as good as last year. And last year we saw what happened to them. Please, Liberty should have lost that game, but give them credit, they did win. Navy all over Temple, 38-11. Navy is throwing the ball now. They're getting passing touchdowns. I believe their quarterback's Horvath. He's thrown 3 touchdowns in the first 2 games. We'll talk about that next week because that'll be the Tigers' opponent a week from Saturday in Annapolis. They have handled Navy the last few years, but I don't think this is going to be a pushover team this year. Navy beats Temple 38-11.
To be fair, the Sports 56 All-Stars would beat Temple.
Well, that is true.
Temple's legitimate. I think they are the worst FBS team in the country.
They are in the running, certainly. Arkansas State, congrats to Butch Jones, friend of the show, and the Red Wolves from Jonesboro. They beat Tulsa from the American 28-24. And then one other game I thought was very interesting in the American. Memphis does not play this team unless they play them in the conference championship game. Army beat Florida Atlantic 24-7. Army's good. I don't think it's a great addition to the conference because the Army-Navy game does not count as a conference game, but nevertheless, Army wins 24-7. Okay, let's get to the big upset of the weekend and one of the biggest upsets you'll ever see. Notre Dame, after going down to College Station and beating Texas A&M with a great dub for Marcus Freeman and company, they must have decided not to go to meetings or practice the entire week as they lose to a so-so Northern Illinois team, 16-14 in South Bend, as Northern Illinois blocks a field goal attempt by Notre Dame that would have won it for the Irish if successful. Again, one of the biggest upsets you'll see ever.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about coming out of nowhere. It's kind of a classic Notre Dame thing, though. They 2 years ago they lost to Marshall.
Right.
At home.
Especially recent history, right?
I go back to the 1993 when you beat number 1 Florida State, turn around the next week and lose to Boston College. These are things that Notre Dame does. And I just kept thinking at some point here, they're going to put it together. They'll go down, they'll score a couple of touchdowns and put this game away. And they just couldn't do it. They could not do it. They couldn't stop Antonio Brown from doing whatever he wanted to do on the other side of the ball. Just incredible from where they were. Everybody thought, and rightly so, you looked at their schedule,
guaranteed them a
once
spot.
You got by Texas A&M, you're like, Notre Dame is basically in the playoff. It would take a big stumble for them not to make the playoff. Well, insert said stumble in week number 2 because I just don't, how they only score 14 points against Northern Illinois is crazy.
Look, if Notre Dame rolls through and wins all the rest of their games, they have the one upset loss, the committee's going to put them in. The question is going to be if there any discussion with 3 or 4 other schools from conferences, and they have also lost a game to, let's say, USC or Florida State. They have multiple losses. I'm sorry, you have to go back and look at that Northern Illinois loss. and that be a determining factor. You can't give the Irish, as much as they probably do, the benefit of the doubt. But again, they'll hopefully, for their sake and the Irish nation's sake, wake the hell up, because you can't have this happen again.
Everybody just, seemingly since he's been there, everybody just acts like Marcus Freeman is this really good coach and he's the guy for Notre Dame. He has proven absolutely nothing. Again, other than that they can lose to non-power teams at home. That's what he has proven. I don't know. I still don't understand why Marcus Freeman is considered some wonder kid coach. What has he done at Notre Dame?
So you're hearing that? I'm hearing the opposite. Actually, from Irish fans that I know, that they're questioning whether or not he's the guy. Are you talking about the national pundits are all over him?
Since he's been there, there's always been love for Marcus Freeman. He's done some incredible job. He's done nothing.
I met him in person here in Memphis at a function for Notre Dame a couple of years ago. He's a great guy, eloquent speaker, very good motivational guy. He played at Ohio State. And I don't know. It's just to have the inconsistencies that Notre Dame has, something's awry. All right, let's move on. Iowa. I'm expecting a lot better offensively from Iowa. They were in week 1. This week they scored 19. They got most of their points early, but they were in control. When you have a defense like that, you usually hold on and win. Give credit to Matt Campbell and the Cyclones of Iowa State and the big, what do they call it, the Hawkeye battle or whatever it is?
Cyhawk.
Cyhawk, there you go. Iowa State wins 20-19 on the road.
Yeah, it looked like it was just going to be your normal, terrible Iowa win of they shut out the opponent and win 13-0.
Boring game.
But, yeah, give Iowa State credit. In that second half, found a way to get some offense going, and 54-yard field goal. There was one where a college kicker did come through, but the 54-yarder, yeah, that's they always seem to play close games. That rivalry is a weird rivalry a lot of the times, but that's a bad loss for Iowa at home. For those that thought Iowa might be a legitimate playoff contender, yeah, they just don't score over 20 points.
That's what I'm saying. The Big Ten is weak.
If you just can't score over 20 points ever, it puts a lot of pressure on your defense. You've got a really good defense, but that's asking a lot to hold basically every opponent under 20 points to give yourself a chance to win.
The Big Ten outside of, and we talked about this in hour 1, Ohio State, which is certainly a dominant team, an Oregon team that's a little suspect, especially defensively early. Penn State, we know Penn State, same thing every year. They barely beat Bowling Green. They'll win all the games. They'll lose against Ohio State. I'm not even sure if they have them on their schedule, but I assume they'll lose 1 or 2 there. And then all the rest of them, throw them into a bag and pick one out. It's the same darn stuff. And that includes Michigan this year after a great year last year in a national championship. All right, a couple of others. No comments really needed. Miami blows out Florida A&M 56-9. Ward is off to a tremendous start statistically, their quarterback. The aforementioned Ohio State Buckeyes, 56-0 over Western Michigan. Clemson, they angered Clemson, my friends. Appalachian State is not a bad team. They beat them 66-20 and could have scored a lot more. What did they have, 56 at halftime?
Yes.
I don't know what got into Clemson, but they were mad from the Georgia game. Maybe Georgia is just that much better than just about everybody else. 66-20. USC buries Utah State 48-0 late game. Their quarterback's really good.
Yeah, I mean, it was great last week.
Yeah, he's really good. And that's one I should consider, that maybe they're better than what we thought going in for the Big Ten, USC. And then, speaking of the Big Ten, Oregon. 2 games, could easily be 0-2. Boise State scares me. Genty is an unbelievable running back. The offense that they have produced is pretty good. Oregon's defense is really suspect, but the Ducks in the end get the win. Wasn't that the game where they had the wide receiver that really dropped the ball? And they didn't call it, right?
I wasn't watching the game. I don't know what I think, because I think an Oregon guy actually picked it up anyway.
Oh, that's what they did. That's what they called. They said he dropped the ball, and then the Oregon guy picked it up, and that was a touchdown. Can you please, for the love of God, if you're a receiver out there, heed my words. Carry the ball over the goal line, into the end, hand it back to the official, or do whatever you want to do afterwards, but do not drop it a half a yard or a yard before the end zone, for goodness sakes, before you break the plane of the goal. Stop it.
Boise State, first of all, Ashton Genty is, the numbers he's putting up, who knows how many yards he might rush for this year.
Is he the top running back in the country?
God, you can't
Yeah, but again, you got to look at the...
Well, he just did it against Oregon.
Oregon's weak defensively, I'm telling you.
They're a top 5 team in the country.
Okay, again, early numbers.
We can say, you got to watch him do it against who? Against Georgia? You have to go against Georgia to prove you're good?
The point I'm going to make is that they're going to play bad teams in the Mountain West, so he's going to rack up the yards. I'm just saying compared to a couple of these other running backs. But no, certainly you can make the argument.
He's got 9 touchdowns and,
I understand.
400-some yards through 2 games?
Yeah.
He's incredible. And if you're Memphis or anybody out of the American, you better, if this ends up being Boise State's only loss,
you're in trouble.
You're not.
You're in trouble for that.
They're going ahead of you.
Right.
That's just bottom line. Oregon had a punt return touchdown and a kickoff return touchdown. They had 2 return touchdowns to win on a last-second field goal against Boise. It was
almost like how the Bears beat the Titans. Right?
Boise easily could have won this game. And so and you look at it now, and if they're doing that, you're like, okay, well, who in the hell in the Mountain West is beating them?
Right.
If they're doing that type of stuff to Oregon. So, but yeah, if they end up with 1 loss and that's it. You would have to be undefeated.
Unless the Tigers go undefeated.
The American champion would have to probably be undefeated. I don't think there's any group of 5 team with 1 loss that would beat out a 1-loss Boise, with that being their only loss. Now, again, we see crazy things happen. We watched Notre Dame lose to Northern Illinois. Hell, Northern Illinois. If Northern Illinois goes undefeated, I don't know how good Northern Illinois actually is in the MAC, but there ain't no group of 5 team that's going to have a better win than Northern Illinois this year.
No. To go on the road and win at Notre Dame?
So if they go on a run and they win the MAC and go undefeated, or even if they have 1 loss somewhere along the way, I don't know. Whoever that loss would probably be a bad loss. But Miami of Ohio is supposed to be the best team in the MAC. But
they're picked 3rd by Phil Steele.
But you're not going to get a better win than that from a group of 5 team all year. So now they're in that mix as well.
I still believe. Look, I don't think it's going to happen, but I still believe. If Memphis goes down to Tallahassee, beats Florida State, even though Florida State I know is off to a rocky start, and goes undefeated in the American, which I don't believe will happen, but let's just say for the sake of this discussion they do. They're undefeated. I still think they'll go over Northern Illinois undefeated, or Liberty undefeated, or Boise 1 loss. But I think you're absolutely right about your synopsis about Boise State. That loss almost was like a win.
Yeah,
in a weird way.
It won't. From a committee perspective, anybody you're gonna look at that and be like, that's nothing whatsoever. That's not. Now, I guess maybe if Oregon ends up not being good and they have 4 losses or something like that along the way, it's a little different. But if Oregon is anything close to what people think they are, yeah, that loss in the end, the committee will look at that as a positive for Boise State. I don't even know what the line was on that game, but to lose on a last-second field goal. In that situation. But yeah, again, Memphis undefeated, or an undefeated American Conference champion, I think gets in.
Yeah, I do too.
But there's nobody left that could be undefeated other than Memphis, right?
Tulane's lost.
UTSA lost, and South Florida. Again, so it would have to be Memphis to be undefeated.
That's right. 1 final game, and we'll get back to college football in hour 3 with Barrett Sallee. We got a lot of other topics we're going to jump into after we come back from the break. But the final game, Nebraska over Colorado, 28-10. Dallin Hayden got banged up in that game. Have you heard any word, either of you guys, on Hayden? Hopefully Dallin is okay. He got banged up, I think, late in that game. But Nebraska, Matt Rule, he's got a quarterback. He's got a defense. They're going to be okay. That's not a bad team. In the Big Ten, that's not a bad team. But Colorado, gosh,
they're just not good. They got 2 great players. They got 1 great player,
and Shiloh's out, right?
And then
he get hurt.
Shador
No, yeah, but was
I don't. Shiloh is not a great player.
You don't consider him? He's a very good player.
Travis Hunter is a great player.
Well, yeah, great.
Shador
said very good.
Shador is really, really good.
Right.
But then they're not like. But overall, like the offensive line, Shador is going to get killed because they can't block anybody.
What did you think about calling basically throwing his offensive line under the bus? Did you have a problem with that? He did it in the correct way.
It's no surprise when you consider who he is, who his dad is.
Who his dad is, right?
Like it's not like let's be honest, it's not going to be a surprise that that's going to happen. But also like again, he doesn't have everybody in the world can see like that offensive line's terrible.
Yeah,
like they're just it was the same thing last year. Like their offensive line is so bad. He doesn't have much of a chance. He's going to get killed back there.
It makes me mad when I see people tweet out things that are negative towards Shador when he throws a pick or gets clobbered or something like that. Obviously, because he is the son of Coach Prime and he says some things that he does. I think Shador Sanders is a really special quarterback that's going to go very high in the draft and has a chance to make it in the National Football League. I don't think there's any question. So, I mean, ease up on the guy. All right? I mean, he's getting killed back there. And I think he still delivers. It was a tough game. I understand that. But I still think he's a very talented quarterback. Corky's Ribs and Barbecue. They're talented at what they do, and that's serving up delicious, slow-smoked barbecue. I'm sure a bunch of you guys went out and got some Corky's before Friday night high school football or whatever the case may be. Great for tailgating. Also great for any event you got coming up. You want it catered? Corky's can take care of that for you. Just contact Corky's. 4 locations, Poplar Avenue in Memphis, Poplar Avenue in Collierville, Germantown Parkway in Cordova, and Goodman Road in Olive Branch. They have lunch specials every day, party packs that start at just $7.49. And when you head over for lunch or dinner, get yourself an entree. Maybe it's a barbecue sandwich, their award-winning catfish plate, whatever the case may be. Add a third of a rack of ribs for just $7.99. They also have great desserts as well. Pick up a Corky's gift card while you're there. Corky's Ribs and Barbecue, open for lunch and dinner 7 days a week. When we come back, we're switching gears. We're talking Tigers hoops. We're talking Penny Hardaway. We're talking Grizzlies. It's all coming up. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
I don't think we really need anyone else to help us tell everyone how great Central Barbecue is.
Oh, I don't think we need it either, but I just thought it might be fun to have somebody more famous than us chime in on the best barbecue in Memphis.
Well, did he talk about how Central Barbecue slow smokes its meat for 24 hours to make sure that it's perfectly tender and doesn't need a sauce?
Well, no, not exactly.
Well, did he talk about how there are Central Barbecue locations all over town?
No.
Did you write his copy for him?
I didn't want to be insulting.
So what did he say?
Hi, I'm Dave Woloshin, the voice of the Memphis Tigers. I love Central Barbecue, and I vote. Does that work okay?
What does that even mean?
I don't know.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. For nearly 2 decades, we've installed some of the best roof systems across the Mid-South. To the tens of thousands of clients we've served, we are honored. So many of you call our team at Brian Elder Roofing your roofers. Our team is dedicated to serving you and keeping your family safe, dry, and mold-free. The recent hailstorms have caused massive damage, and many of these will go unnoticed for years, even though the golf ball-sized hail we just experienced in the Mid-South compromises even the best-built roof system. Whether we find damage or not, your photos are securely stored for future reference. Call Brian Elder Roofing today for a total evaluation of your entire roof system free. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. Call me at 901-867-0303. That's 901-867-0303. Or visit us online at brianelderroofing.com.
Located corner of Park and Cherry is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home at Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
To understand what makes Genesis Diamonds so different than other jewelry stores, you have to go back over 40 years to the diamond cutting capital of Tel Aviv, Israel. That's where Genesis owner Boaz Ramon grew up, in the center of the diamond universe. His connections with the best diamond cutters allowed him special access, giving rise to a thriving wholesale business here in the United States. Then, after a few years, this wholesaler changed the game and started selling these precious diamonds direct to the public at the same prices he had sold to the jewelry stores. The no middleman concept became an instant success. Today, Genesis Diamonds provides that extraordinary value to people right here in Middle Tennessee, leading the industry with the highest quality diamonds that still come straight from the best cutters, offered at the guaranteed best price of any jewelry store in America. Genesis Diamonds, a truly revolutionary concept with a unique history rooted in quality, committed to excellence, and always focused on value. Genesis Diamonds, luxury green Rolexes, and popular importance extended.
Listen each and every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. and join Ottawa Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawa is a PCUSA church located in town Memphis.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. Wrapping up a couple of ranks from earlier on here. This one on 240 westbound Airways. It's still out here. It's over to the right-hand side. A little bit of rubbernecking associated with this crash. They've been out here also for a couple of hours now on a police situation on 3rd right over 55. They're still out there right now. It's just now starting to crank up on Bill Morris Parkway coming inbound towards 240. Hey, Weimer's Jewelry, they've been serving the Memphis area for over 40 years. No matter what the occasion is, make sure you check with Weimer's Jewelry first, located 7525 Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Genuine diamonds, baby.
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everybody. Halfway home on this Monday edition of Sports 56 Mornings, 8:31 the time. Greg, Eli, and Zach. We got Barrett Salee at 9:05. We'll get into some NFL in our last two segments of the show today, but we'll break down all the games tomorrow. We'll do that each and every Tuesday during the NFL season. Right now, though, we got a lot of other things I want to get to here on the program that happened over the weekend, including the Grizzlies, who will first, October 1st, 2nd, and 3rd in Nashville. Their media days on the 30th, so that's 3 weeks from today, rapidly approaching. We talked about Ja Morant, who was at the Tiger football game on Saturday. So we're right around the corner. And over the weekend, the Grizzlies announced the addition of 4 players to their training camp roster. And I know 1 or 2, maybe at least 1, Eli, was with the hustle that you know all about. But the name that certainly jumped out at me was Armando Bacot, the former North Carolina big man who elected to stay at North Carolina an additional year and made a lot of money NIL-wise and probably made the right move. Here's a guy who wasn't drafted. I never thought he was that talented in North Carolina, but he was so big. And here he is trying to somehow make maybe a 10-day, not a 10-day, but a 2-way deal for a team, whether the Grizzlies don't even have an open spot, I don't believe, but maybe get a Exhibit 10 with some team, but try to get to the NBA in an unconventional way because he wasn't drafted.
Yeah, he was never looked at as a great NBA prospect, but certainly was an awesome college player. These guys will all be Exhibit 10 players, I'm sure. I'm sure that's what these
All four of these guys? Who's the one guy that played with the team last year in the year of 8,000 players because of the injuries?
Well, Perea.
Yeah, Perea.
Played with the Grizzlies last year, not with the Hustle.
Oh, never played with the Hustle? Okay.
But they just traded for his rights, his G League rights here recently. And the Kawamura, that has been out there for a while that everybody knew they were signing him. But, I don't know. Apparently, they're just trying to make it extremely difficult on me to pronounce names for the Hustle this year. I don't know.
Do your best, buddy.
I don't know what the heck's going on here, but I would really prefer a Matt Hurt along the way again.
Sure. Any Jones or Smith,
the Pereas and the Kawamuras and the Onis of the world. Come on, give me some more Matt Hurts. We're getting rid of Adonis Arms and Matt Hurt and replacing them with guys who names are really tough to pronounce.
I had the Kalamora the other night. It was absolutely fabulous. I recommend it. All right, so Penny Hardaway in the news again over the weekend. There was a lot of news last week. First of all, on the coaching front, Hitmen Hoops reporting that it's getting closer that Penny's going to bring on Nolan Smith to his coaching staff. That's been the speculation for a while, but nothing that is concrete. But Penny Hardaway did speak to John Rothstein from CBS Sports. Interesting conversation. I don't think a lot came out of it. And in fact, a lot of it, I think, was regurgitation from what Penny had to say to that local, I don't even know who that dude was, a friend of his who's, I think, on radio, but he's not a sports guy. He might be a pastor. I don't know. I don't remember the guy, but everybody knows the interview I'm talking about where Penny kind of lit into the media, specifically the local media. But let me read a little bit of this, and I'm going to get your comments, Eli. Again, interviewed by John Rothstein. What was shocking to me was John Rothstein never brought up the anonymous letter in this interview. So the only thing I can think of is he figured he would just get maybe he was told before the interview not to bring that up. I don't know, but Penny never, when I interview him, he never says you can't say this, you can't say that. The other thing is it possible that when the coaching changes were made, the four that were let go, the staff members, that's when Rothstein got the interview with Penny before later in the day when the 40 story came out, first to have the story about the anonymous letter. I don't know. But I don't know how a journalist does not bring that up to Penny Hardaway in interviewing him about the anonymous letter. He did bring up, though, the staff changes. And that's his first question. Why did you opt to make the staff changes that you did this past week? Penny, I don't really want to go into that. So now you have nothing on the coaching changes and the staff changes. You're not going to bring up the anonymous letter. I don't even know what the interview's about now. But Rothstein continues, says, are you surprised at the amount of staff turnover that you've had during your tenure as Memphis' head coach? That's a good follow-up question. Penny, at the end of the day, this is who I am. I'm not traditional, so stop trying to put me with the guys that are. I'm not a traditional dude. That's first and foremost. People have come to me for various reasons. I've accepted them for various reasons. The turnover had a lot of graduate assistants, had a lot of managers. The coaches who have left have went on to get bigger and better jobs and better positions. No one has really just been fired. But four guys were just let go. There's been multiple things that have happened mutually, and I still talk to everyone who was in the program because it's a tree. For everyone else, it's a coaching tree, and for me, it's turnover. So if you want to understand what the turnover is, it's a group of young men and men who want to do better. I might not have had a coaching position for them, so they went on to get a coaching position. Or they had a coaching position, and they may have felt that another coaching position may have projected them better with a bigger role. I don't understand why this is unheard of from you guys who have been in the business for a long time. This is only my 6th year. I'm trying to figure it out. I started out having an NBA staff, and now I'm trying to work everything else out. I do believe that he is friendly and kind to his peers to a fault, to his friends, people he grew up with, people who he knows. But, yes, staff changes happen all the time. This is a little bit unorthodox, don't you believe?
Well, and it's all, like that's not true. Like, Tony Madlock left to go be a head coach. Cody Toppert left to go to LSU and is now in the G League.
But you don't know about...
Frank Haith went to Texas.
But here's the other thing.
Who else went to another job when they left here? Nobody.
But you also don't know this, Eli. You don't know if they left only because they had an opportunity to go somewhere else, or was it too much to take here that they wanted to go somewhere else? We don't know any of that. We don't know what the inner workings of that program is.
It doesn't matter. Like, okay, he says the coaches who have left went on to get bigger and better jobs and better positions. No one has really just been fired. That's not true. Like, every guy this year, every one of his assistant coaches from this year is gone, and not one of them left to go get a better job. Larry Brown, you can bring up the health thing, whatever. Okay. Jermaine Johnson's been on and off the staff, never left the staff to go get a better job. Rasheed Wallace just disappeared off the staff. Mike Miller left the staff, didn't go get it. He went to end up being a high school coach. Sam Mitchell left, didn't coach again. So, what is the tree that he's talking about? I mean, Frank Haith is not part of Penny Hardaway's coaching tree. Like, there are three guys that left for jobs that you could say theoretically they were leaving for a better job. Nobody else, unless I'm missing somebody.
This is another question from Rothstein. Given where everything stands right now, if you could give a message to the Memphis fan, are you confident that you still have momentum as a program? Why wouldn't I? What have I done to not have momentum? I was ascending until we had injuries and went from number 10 in the nation to being out of the top 25. It happens. It happens to a lot of coaches. But if it happens to me, then it's the worst thing in the world. Why do I have to say something to the Memphis fan? I'm my harshest critic. I believe that. I'm not mad at anybody. I know what needs to be done. I want to win. That's why I'm still in the job. I don't have to have a job. I'm still here because I really want to do something good. That's true. I don't need the money. I don't need anything. I could go and retire right now and be great. Again, these are the things that he said in that interview with that dude. I know what I can do. I'm able to do what I need to do for me because I am the head of everything. If it gets scrutinized, that's fine. But I just need to win, and I want to win. I don't have to tell the Memphis fans anything. They know my heart. They know why I'm in it. I'd love for you guys to put my first 6 years against other people's first 6 years and tell me how it turns out. So, again, I think what he's saying there is accurate. I do believe he could be anywhere he wants. He can live anywhere he wants. He is dedicated to winning. I think he's pissed that he hasn't won to the level he really believes they should, whether he says it or not. I think there's probably nobody who wants to win more. I believe all of that stuff. But I don't believe he's criticized harder than anybody else. I mean, Tubby Smith was let go in 2 years. They just got rid of the guy. And I would think, again, if you told Penny before he started his tenure here that after 6 years, now granted, you had a COVID year. I understand that. Injuries are a part of it. Everybody goes through it. But in 6 years that you will have 2 NCAA tournament appearances and 1 NCAA tournament win, he would laugh in your face. So, yes, there's criticism, and there's always going to be criticism when things don't go swimmingly. He's got to understand that. I'm surprised he doesn't, but I don't think he's treated harshly. I don't think he's treated harder than other coaches in the past. Now, if you open your ears and you read message boards and listen to everybody, you're going to get a lot of hate from a lot of people that may not even be associated with the program. You can't worry about that. But within the program, I could tell you that there's disappointed people that they haven't reached the goals that they need to reach. I know that he's his harshest critic, but there's no way he could look at that and go, yeah, I'm satisfied after 6 years.
I would hope not. I mean, when he got the job, he talked about winning championships. They won one conference championship.
Won an NIT title.
And an NIT title. I mean, I guess if we're really celebrating the NIT titles, great. But I think everybody would say that it's been a disappointment to this point. They have underachieved. You've had top recruiting classes that turned into nothing. Now you've gone and done the whole transfer portal thing. That didn't work. I mean, to blame last year, to say I was ascending till we had injuries, acting like the Caleb Mills injury was just, you could not overcome that last year is crazy.
Did it hurt the team? It did, but yes.
It's a sixth man.
He was a good player, but there was a lot of other things that were happening behind closed doors that derailed the team. All right, we got a lot of other things to get to in this last segment.
And to say why, what have I done not to have momentum?
Last year.
What have you done to have momentum?
Well, last year certainly took away any momentum.
Like the thing, like you have regressed. Like you went from winning a tournament game to losing in the first round of the tournament to not making the tournament. That is the opposite of momentum.
Right.
That is, you're regressing year over year as far as the results. Now, you could say that the one there was a conference championship in there. Okay, that's fine, whatever. But again, this year was nothing. You can't possibly say is anything other than a step backwards, so that kills any momentum.
There have been positive moments. There has certainly been a conference championship, some big wins over some big national teams. Yes, NIT title, okay, for what it's worth. Nobody's saying Penny is Pat Ewing. This wasn't a disaster. It was the right move to be made, and there's a lot of people that still have a lot of confidence in it, including Ed Scott. That's why any thought of him not being the head coach to start the season, I think was off base. Now, unless the thought was that all of a sudden something was going to come out of this anonymous letter, I just don't know if it ever will, because I don't know if that person will follow through with all the stuff they supposedly have and give it to the NCAA. And you know how the NCAA works, slower than hell. So I don't think anything will change. So this is an important year to go out there with a team of players that aren't these big superstars, couple of big names on the roster, more of what Penny wanted. He's now changed all the coaches. He's changed the players. This is a pivotal year. He knows it's a pivotal year.
Texter on the Sissy's Log Cabin Listener Line says, if Tiger basketball doesn't have a good season, doesn't make the NCAA tournament, and Penny is let go, who in the world would be on the short list for the head coaching position? Well, first of all, it's a long way away because God knows, who knows if they'll actually would get rid of Penny anyway. But you don't know. Ed Scott may have guys from his past that he thinks of and has on a list of, these are guys, if I ever get that opportunity, that I want to be my basketball coach. When you have a new AD, there's always, you never know. You could be people from his past that he really likes that would be on the top of that list.
Let's just put it this way. The list would be extensive. The list would be extensive.
I mean, they pay well.
They pay well. It's still a very, very good program.
So as long as you're paying well, and there it is shown, like, again, this isn't football where, I mean, you know that you have the opportunity in basketball to win, and here you're going to have an easy path really to the NCAA tournament by winning a conference that's not very good every single year. This would still be an appealing job for coaches. I mean, you're not going to go get Bill Self, but you can, like, there will be a lot of candidates for that, for this job. There's no doubt. East Coast Wings and Grills. Spent some time over at East Coast on Saturday watching football action Saturday night. Was there Friday night for a little bit as well after the Christian Brothers football game. Watching some football games up there. All the games always on, whether it be the NFL, whether it be college football, of course, Major League Baseball, whatever's on there. They've got it on the TVs up at East Coast Wings and Grill. And you can enjoy some great food and great drinks while you're there. All the different flavors of wings, 60 different flavors for you to choose from. Of course, with many other great things on the menu, from their sandwiches to the salads and all kinds of other stuff. What did I have the other night? I had, I did not have wings. I don't remember what that guy had.
Surely wasn't a salad, I can tell you that much.
I went the buffalo chicken sandwich route one night, and then the next night I had, I think I had a Philly cheesesteak. I think I had the Philly cheesesteak the next night. But it's great food. 24 draft beers on tap. So all kinds of stuff that you can enjoy while watching all the action at East Coast Wings and Grill, located just off Highway 64, Kate Hyde Boulevard, which is the one that runs right between the Lowe's and Walmart there off Highway 64 in Bartlett. That's where you'll find them, East Coast Wings and Grill.
You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
It's happening right now. You can save thousands on in-stock hot tubs that are ready to be delivered. Family Leisure has spas that start at just $28.99. You know those cold plunges? You can get one for yourself starting at $39.99. Or how about swim spas? They start at $17,499. Plus, Family Leisure has set up special financing just for this event. Have you been sitting on the fence about an above-ground pool? Get off that fence and get to Family Leisure to take advantage of huge discounts on all their in-stock above-ground pools. And if you need some patio furniture, it's all priced to move out now. It's not too late to have some summer fun, courtesy of Family Leisure. But you better hurry up. The world's biggest spa sale might go on forever. Family Leisure. Whitten Road at I-40. Family and fun come together.
Moving is stressful, but Black Tie Moving can take the worry out of the process. Whether you're moving across town or across country, moving your home or your office, your personal moving concierge from Black Tie Moving will work with you to design a plan that perfectly fits your budget and needs. And they're available 24/7 to answer any questions you have. Give Black Tie Moving a call at 901-316-6196 or go to blacktiemoving.com/Memphis to get your personal, no-obligation quote from the moving experts at Black Tie Moving.
Rick's Powder Coating for a beautiful finish every time. Rick's Powder Coating specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With 2 conveyor lines and the largest batch ovens in the Mid-South, Rick's can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Rick's Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Rick's Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or rickspowdercoating.com.
Locally owned and operated for over 40 years, Automatic Gates Construction tailors custom gate solutions for all your residential, commercial, and industrial needs, including repairs, maintenance, and installation. Automatic Gates Construction specializes in designing and installing automatic gates and fencing that seamlessly blends security, functionality, and aesthetic appeal. Elevate the safety and efficiency of your property with a premium gate solution. Automatic Gates Construction at myautomaticgates.com.
I don't think we really need anyone else to help us tell everyone how great Central Barbecue is.
Oh, I don't think we need it either, but I just thought it might be fun to have somebody more famous than us chime in on the best barbecue in Memphis.
Well, did he talk about how Central Barbecue slow smokes its meat for 24 hours to make sure that it's perfectly tender and doesn't need a sauce?
Well, no, not exactly.
Well, did he talk about how there are Central Barbecue locations all over town?
No.
Did you write his copy for him?
I didn't want to be insulting.
So what did he say?
Hi, I'm Dave Woloshin, the voice of the Memphis Tigers. I love Central Barbecue, and I vote. Does that work okay?
What does that even mean?
I don't know.
Now, back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Diamonds are forever! Woo!
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Former Tiger pitcher Jonathan Bolden, who's in the Royals organization, has been up and down with Kansas City and playing also with the Omaha Storm Chasers, AAA. He was in town with Omaha. They were playing the Redbirds. And on Saturday, comes in relief in the 8th inning and throws an immaculate inning. For those who don't know what that is, 9 pitches, all strikes, 3 outs, sayonara. Pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Pretty
Anytime immaculate
good.
is involved, it's pretty good.
The immaculate inning. And speaking of sayonara, this is a nice transition. Shohei Ohtani went sayonara for the 46th time this year. 46th home run. So he is on pace right now. There's about roughly 20 games to go, regular season. He's on pace for 52 home runs, 52 stolen bases. He would be the first ever 50-50 player in the history of the game. So 46th home run. The only question was whether it was going to be a fair ball in the Dodgers game. So Shohei on the way with 46 home runs, needing 4 more to get to 50. And is it 4 more stolen bases or 5? Is he 46-46 right now or 46-45?
I want to say 46-45, but I'm not positive.
Yeah, I think you might be right about that. From the U.S. Open tennis tournament, unfortunately, the Americans were in the final, both men and women in singles, but both lost. Taylor Fritz loses to the number 1 player in the world, the number 1 seed, Yannick Sinner. 6'3", 6'4", 7'5", as the Italian gets the American $3.6 million paycheck for Yannick Sinner as he wins the U.S. Open. Also, tough news for the WNBA, one of their star young players, Angel Reese, announcing, I guess she announced on Instagram, was it? That she is out for the rest of the season with a wrist injury. And it's a shame because, you know, the whole rivalry with Caitlin Clark has really propelled women's professional basketball. Reese has been a very, very good player, one of the best rebounders that they've seen in years. And it's interesting because Clark, who just had a triple-double, and, you know, most people think she's sewn up Rookie of the Year, and I would tweet out, not so fast, my friends. Don't be surprised with the support that Reese has, and sometimes the other way for Clark, that it could be interesting. But now with Reese out for the year, I think this is done, delivered, and we'll get the announcement when the season is over.
Oh, it was. I believe it was done anyway, and that's why the bookmakers believe it was done anyway. But yeah, I mean, now certainly there is no question. But I mean, with Indiana playing the way they are and winning constantly, this thing was, and with the numbers Caitlin Clark is putting up with all these wins, there was no chance of her losing that.
Well, you say that, and I know, like you said, the numbers, the stats, the team's improvement, it should have been a slam dunk. But we know how voters are. That's all I'm saying. All right, and then some really sad news over the weekend as Showboat's wide receiver DeAndre Overton was shot and killed. Tragic, tragic news as DeAndre Overton, the former Clemson standout, played 4 years with Clemson, won 2 national titles, never really got that opportunity to play in the National Football League, was playing in the UFL with the Showboats, and he was killed over the weekend.
Yeah, it's sad, unfortunate, and that's now 2 years in a row where the Showboats have had a player pass away in the offseason, with Alex Collins last year and now DeAndre Overton this year. It was in his hometown of Greensboro, North Carolina, and I don't know that they've had many details or released many details, but according to police, he was shot. Awful stuff to see somebody that young and have their life taken away from them in a situation like that.
Coming up in hour number 3, we get back to college football with Barrett Salee from College Football Smothered and Covered in Sirius XM College Radio. Then we'll talk some NFL in our final half hour. You can hit us up on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines. You can text in at 901-360-8255. And then during non-guest segments, you can call in at 360-8255. So yesterday, myself and some of my family members, we went over to the official ribbon cutting of the new Shoot 360 Memphis facility in Cordova. And I've been there before, and as I've talked about before, it is incredible. Newly renovated 50,000 square feet facility, 2 NBA regulation size courts, 3 high school size courts, 4 shooting bays with Shoot 360 technology. There was a lot of people there. Had the chance to say hello to a lot of folks as well. As I mentioned earlier, Thaddeus Young, who's a part of the ownership group, he was there and cut the ribbon. Really, really nice. So hopefully a lot of those folks enjoyed themselves and will become members. And you can become a member as well at either the Collierville or the Cordova location or both. And you can do so on a monthly basis. That's right, a monthly basis. If you're aspiring to become a better basketball player, a better shooter of the ball, this is the place for you. This is the same system that a guy like Steph Curry used. I don't know what happened to him in his career. You know, I'm trying to find out some information on him, but I believe at one time he was pretty good. It's a revolutionary training facility that combines cutting-edge technology with expert coaching to improve shooting skills. All the coaches were there yesterday. That includes former Memphis Grizzlies assistant Scott Adebato. These are the folks that will help your youngsters become better shooters. But again, it's not for youngsters only. Obviously, high school and college players, for adults as well. So check them out today. If you didn't get a chance to do so yesterday, in Cordova, in Collierville, at Shoot 360 Memphis. Go online to sign up at Shoot 360 Memphis or give them a call. Tell them I sent you. 901-316-5500. The future of basketball training is here. Shoot 360 Memphis. Barrett Salee is next. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hello,
Hello, sports fans out there. Walker Taylor here with the Germantown and Collierville Commissary. We just celebrated our 43rd year in business, and I would like to thank our fantastic customers and especially our loyal staff. Time has flown by. We now have a second location, Poplar and Houston Levy in Collierville. Catering is a specialty of ours. 50 to 5,000, no job too small, no job too big. Full service or self-service. We also have a party room in Collierville that is great for rehearsal dinners, business meetings, you name it, we'd love to have you. Also, our barbecue party packs start at $8.75 a person. Barbecue, beans, slaw, bun sauce, including serving utensils. Especially great for tailgating with football season coming up. The commissary restaurants also believe in giving back to the community. Possibly you have been approached by somebody selling a barbecue six-pack coupon for fundraising. Cheerleading groups, church groups, anything to help a worthy cause. Holidays are near. Smoked hams and smoked turkeys will be on the pit before you know it. Come see us at Germantown and Collierville Commissary. Also check us out at commissarybarbecue.com.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. For nearly 2 decades, we've installed some of the best roof systems across the Mid-South. To the tens of thousands of clients we've served, we are honored. So many of you call our team at Brian Elder Roofing your roofers. Our team is dedicated to serving you and keeping your family safe, dry, and mold-free. The recent hailstorms have caused massive damage, and many of these will go unnoticed for years, even though the golf ball-sized hail we just experienced in the Mid-South compromises even the best-built roof system. Whether we find damage or not, your photos are securely stored for future reference. Call Brian Elder Roofing today for a total evaluation of your entire roof system free. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. Call me at 901-867-0303. That's 901-867-0303. Or visit us online at brianelderroofing.com.
Summer's heating up, and so are the savings at Choate's. We've got 3 incredible offers to make your season spectacular. First up, our Grill and Chill with Choate's Summer Special. Upgrade your HVAC system and choose between a free Yeti cooler or a Green Egg grill on select systems. Then power through any outage with Choate's generators. Be one of the first 50 customers to buy a generator and score a massive 75-inch TV or an iPad. Also, don't forget about our tankless water heater offer. Purchase a tankless water heater from Choate's and receive a premium toilet free. Don't wait. These offers are too good to last. Turn to the experts with Choate's and call 347-8086 or visit us online today for your free estimate. Now introducing Choate's air conditioning, heating, plumbing, and generators. Choate's. Let our family serve your family.
Looking for sports in all the wrong places? Try the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland Town Square. Fun, friendly, exciting, and comfortable with wall-to-wall TVs for all your favorite games, 24 taps for all your favorite beers, including NA and local craft beers, and an in-front-of-the-wall full bar for all your other favorite beverages, including a full wine list. Add in an upscale menu, patio seating, daily specials, and events, and you found all your sports in the one right place. The Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland Town Square, Highway 70.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Calling all Memphis Tiger fans, the Liza's Light University of Memphis Soccer and Track Stadium Fund needs your support. In memory of Liza Fletcher, we're building a state-of-the-art stadium to provide our student athletes with the top-notch facilities they deserve. Help us reach our Phase 1 goal of $7 million and make a true impact for this community. Let your light shine. Visit lizaslight.org and donate now.
This Sports 56 traffic report is brought to you by Luttrell Belting. They keep you moving.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. Trying to clean up a couple of wrecks out here, including this one 40 westbound at Witten Road. This one that happened earlier this morning on 3rd over 55. It's going to remain out here for a while. Serious injuries involved in this. I can tell by the accident reconstruction team that's been out here doing measurements for quite some time. Again, that's on 3rd, right over 55. It's been shut down for quite some time. Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64 is your full-service, family-owned jewelry store here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, with Dave Woloshin, weekday mornings from 10 to 11. Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jenkins Floors and More. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
And a glorious morning it is. Beautiful weather. 62 right now. We'll get up to 86 under sunny skies. Tonight, clear skies with a low of 62. We welcome you back. Hour 3 of the program. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, and Zach Boyd with you on this Monday, September 9th, 2024. We're broadcasting live from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, the biggest or the world's biggest spa sale going on right now. 2120 Witten Road, just north of I-40. It's Monday. It's time to talk college football with Barrett Sallee.
It's time to talk some college football. Joining Greg and Eli is Barrett Sallee, host of the College Football Smothered and Covered podcast and SiriusXM College Sports Radio and columnist for Outkick.com. Here's Barrett Sallee with Greg and Eli.
He is Barrett Sallee. Last week he was on with us Tuesday because we didn't have a Monday show, but back today in his rightful time and hour. Barrett Sallee from the great Smothered and Covered show. If you have not listened to that podcast, you're missing out, ladies and gentlemen. Barrett, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you for the kind words. Yeah, fun weekend. You know, every time they say, oh, it's a down weekend in college football, bam, all hell breaks loose.
Yeah.
So it's fun.
And that hell, a lot of it was in South Bend. Very ironically, with the touchdown Jesus in the background, it was hell breaking loose with a loss to Northern Illinois. How does that happen? Is that a team just not preparing, not taking anybody seriously? You're coming off a great win over Texas A&M. How can that happen?
You know, it's a coaching thing. You know, this happens a lot. It's 3 times now where Notre Dame has lost to an unranked team under Marcus Freeman. And, you know, we all remember the Marshall game, you know, a couple of years ago. So, yeah, I think it all goes back to Marcus Freeman maybe not being comfortable with certain aspects of the job. I mean, it is still his 3rd year, so, you know, I wouldn't say you use it, but he's still relatively new at this. He still makes dumb decisions. I'm not saying he's Kirby Smart, but remember, Kirby Smart called a fake punt in the SEC championship game from midfield with Justin Fields when the defense was in a punt safe. You know, it's like, okay, you know, you're allowed to have some mistakes. And so I think that's what it is. And, you know, Riley Leonard, I think some of it does fall on him because he's been hesitant, he's been gun-shy, he, doesn't pull the trigger, and he kind of looks like he did the last couple games before his ankle injury last year. So, yeah, you know, maybe he got exposed. Maybe the book is out on him because he just does not look like he did when he was starring at Duke. So I think it's those 2 things. And then for whatever reason, after Jeremiah Love had that great hurdle touchdown, what was that I guess it was the 3rd quarter, maybe early in the 4th, he didn't see the ball again. And it's like, okay, that's working. That's the part of the offense that's working. What is going on? And I don't know if there's a disconnect between Mike Denbrock, the new offensive coordinator, and what Marcus wants to do from a philosophical perspective. But those 2 things to me, and honestly, guys, that's kind of what happened against Texas A&M too. It's not like that offense looked good then either.
Barrett, if you were an Oregon fan, should you be concerned at all after the struggles, even though they got 2 wins?
Yeah, absolutely. Because they're getting out physical, they're getting punched in the face. I mean, that's sort of like a calling card of Dan Lanning. right? And I don't understand how, like, Dylan Gabriel is top 20 in basically every meaningful passing category right now. And a lot of those include, unqualified quarterbacks when, we get to 5, 6, 7 weeks into the season. So he's doing his job, which surprises me because I'm not a big Dylan Gabriel guy. But, I mean, they're getting punched in the mouth. And I don't understand why. That just doesn't seem like what Dan Lanning wants to do. And I tell you what, they're going into that Civil War this weekend against Oregon State. And one thing we do know about Oregon State, they're angry. And there's another thing we know, they always punch you in the mouth too.
Hey, if they don't pick up their physicality, they're going to struggle in the Big Ten. I think the Big Ten has a lot of teams that are down, but they're certainly physical. And if you don't come to the game ready and prepared to be physical, you're going to lose a lot of games. So, yeah, they're at the crossroads, kind of like what Florida State is, and we'll talk about that in a moment as they get ready to take on Memphis. But the Alabama game was a wacko job. I mean, I don't even – you look at that score, if you didn't watch that game or know what happened, and you look at that score and you see Alabama won 42-16. Okay, another day at the office, easy 26-point win over South Florida. Not even close. That's the perfect example, Barrett, of a game where the score does not indicate what really happened. Is South Florida that much improved? Where does Alabama stand after shutting out Western Kentucky in week 1?
I think there's some concern. Now, part of that is because Caden Proctor was out at right tackle, and that's kind of where South Florida attacked Alabama big time. 3 fumbles is, undisciplined. The penalties, Alabama was penalized a lot the last few years under Saban, and they just compounded on each other. It was a sign of undisciplined football, and I don't know if that is something that they can fix, because their offensive line is not that great still, and you didn't see many wide receivers other than Williams sort of become stars, become reliable targets. And so it's concerning going into a game at Wisconsin, which you cannot have that. You cannot have those penalties. And you cannot have Wisconsin, getting off the edge and rattling Jalen Milroe. It's not. And they had snapping issues too, which is like, oh God, it's a different center, but it's the same old crap. I just don't understand. It's like, and so I wouldn't say they're in danger zone, but what's the line, like 13.5 or something like that at Wisconsin? That's pretty aggressive. That's pretty aggressive. And you're right. The score doesn't indicate how wild that was. And, what was his name? Brian Brown, the USF quarterback?
Yep.
He had the ball, inside the 25-yard line, about to go in and take the lead. And then, the drive putters out on a questionable holding call. So it was a mess, man. It was a total mess.
Bama, by the way, 16-point favorite over Wisconsin.
God.
That's a lot at Wisconsin.
That is a lot, man. Tyler Van Dyke's been pretty good for them, too.
I wonder when the last time Wisconsin at home in Camp Randall was that much of an underdog. Maybe an Ohio State game.
I was going to say maybe an Ohio State game.
That's about it, right?
Yeah. There's no way it was anybody other than Ohio State.
Well, one score that was indicative of how big of a blowout it was what Tennessee did to NC State.
Oh God.
Is this defense good enough where Tennessee could win a championship?
I think that it's getting there. You're starting to convince me. I'm not the biggest Grayson McCall guy, so I know Tennessee fans, I wouldn't say they're overreacting, but they're pumping their chest a little bit because they slowed down Grayson McCall. I'm not the biggest Grayson guy, so I don't think you can pound your chest because of I just don't think NC State's offense is really that good. With that said, the problem, which was the secondary on defense, which I use that in air quotes, it doesn't seem to be a problem. And we know what their front seven is. And I remember talking to Josh Heupel this past summer, and he was like, look, man, we are one defensive lineman away from having a 2-deep rotation that is one of the best in college football. He didn't talk about offense. He talked about his defense. And, and it's one of those things, too. Everybody's talking about Nico Iamaleava. He just kind of had an okay game.
Yeah, it didn't have to do much.
Sampson tore it up. So, Tennessee, if you're looking at like SEC power rankings, right, because all of us have those that we have to put out, they're better than Alabama. They're not like Georgia, Texas, Ole Miss good. They're better than Alabama.
Well, you just brought up they're not as good as Ole Miss. Let me ask you why. Ole Miss and Tennessee, both with the potent offenses, both improving defensively. Very similar, I think, their makeups.
Yeah.
They're pretty close, though, right?
Say close, but, I mean, do you trust Jackson Dart or Nico Imaliapa? I'm not saying Nico's bad.
Mm-hmm.
I just trust Jackson Dart.
No, I do, too.
And that's honestly it. Like, that's probably it. That's probably the only reason.
Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
And Tennessee's got some good receivers, but Ole Miss's receiver group is...
Oh, God.
I mean, come on.
They've got Juice Wells. I mean, in addition to
throw him in,
they already had.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, Trey Harris. If you just had Trey Harris and Juice Wells, you'd be fine. But you throw in Caden Prescorn at tight end. You throw in, they're just loaded at the receiver position.
Yeah, and I'm doing Heisman candidates on my show. I'm Smothered and Covered here in a little bit, and it's comical what Jackson Dart has done this year. It's just ridiculous.
Well, and since you bring that up, Ashton Jeanty.
I was just going to say,
can he do enough to win? Again, if now they got the loss, but it's a close loss to Oregon. But say Boise wins the rest of their games, and he's already got 450 yards and 9 touchdowns. Can Jeanty do enough to win a Heisman?
I don't know. Probably not. Probably not. Just because you vote before the playoff, which I think is stupid. But that's what we do. Right. We vote before the playoff. Mm-hmm. And so, if they make a run and Ashton has a great playoff, it doesn't matter, right? It's not part of the equation. So you have to wonder about exposure before then. Casual sports fans are not going to know his name. They're just not. And there are, I'm a voter, and I don't want to disparage other voters, but there are some Heisman voters that don't even work in sports anymore. So they're not going to know. They're not going to know his name. So. And plus, I think it's hard for any running back to win it, but a group of 5 running back, that's impossible.
Barrett Sallee joining us on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest lines. Of course, you can listen to his great podcast. Check him out, College Football Smothered and Covered, Sirius XM College Radio. He also is a columnist for Outkick. All right, we just talked about Ole Miss and Tennessee and the starts they're off to, and we talked a little bit about Alabama as well. But really, if you look at it, I think, with open eyes, the top 3 teams right now, in no particular order, are Georgia, Texas, and Ohio State. Top to bottom, those 3 are the most dominant. Would you agree, and now put them in the order you think they should be?
I would say Texas, Georgia, Ohio State. And the reason I say Texas over Georgia is it's got the best win in college football this year. Is Georgia better than Texas overall? Maybe. But to me, if you're ranking teams, you have to factor in what they've done this year, specifically what they've done this year. And that's not to say it's going to stay there. I mean, Georgia, has a great game against Alabama. Sure, they're going to, jump over. But, I'd say Texas is up there, then Georgia, then Ohio State. And I would say putting Ole Miss very close to that group, there's a case to be made there.
Can you possibly explain, because I tried earlier and I don't think I did a very good job, how in the hell Arkansas lost that game?
No, I can't.
No. Next question.
For a coach who's trying to,
I have no idea they lost.
For a guy who's trying to save his job, I can't even. Sam Pittman couldn't have slept yet. They had so many opportunities to win that game. They had to do so many different stupid things to lose that game, and they did every one of them.
They did every single one of them. I mean, and clock management was a complete disaster. I mean, they were absolutely dominating Oklahoma State. I mean, dominating. And then, I mean, that's one of those where, look, Oklahoma State's pretty. I think Oklahoma State's going to make the playoffs. You had them on the ropes for what would be one of the biggest wins of the season, the entire season. And the play calling sucked. The defense sucked. They were sloppy, stupid penalties, time management. I mean, everything. Like every possible thing that could go wrong did.
Turnovers. Yeah. Like, it took a special effort. I mean, how at the end of
did.
regulation,
It's
if the guy
almost
catches
impressive.
the ball at the end of regulation, they were just going to run out of time. Which is amazing.
The craziness of
how
football,
how
and
can
especially
nobody
college
recognize a time? Like, wait a second, we're about to run out of time, and they try and run another play.
It goes back to something that I've said, and it goes for corporations as well as just football. There needs to be a vice president of common sense everywhere. Like the person doesn't do anything, doesn't say anything, just stands there and observes. And as soon as somebody is thinking about doing something stupid, just step in and be like, no, can't do that. It's a bad idea.
So Memphis will travel to Tallahassee, and crazy as it seems, Memphis in the coaches poll, as you know, Barrett, now ranked. So Memphis comes in as the ranked team. Florida State, which was number 10, drops out of the poll last week, and so they're unranked. You never could have dreamed this up, this scenario that Memphis was going to be the ranked team, Florida State unranked when they played on Saturday. Still with that said, still knowing that they had lost 2 games, Norvell against his former team with 12 days to prepare and really the whole season on life support, I'm a little concerned for Memphis.
That's fair. That's fair because now, like the whirlwind of going to Dublin and then coming back and then having that big game on Labor Day night, and you get a chance to sort of regroup. They always say like you improve the most from game 1 to game 2. That's probably not the case for Florida State. It's probably game 2 to game 3.
Mm-hmm.
That said, their defensive line just doesn't have the dudes, right? So if you're Mario Henderson's a big dude. Seth Hennigan knows how to control an offense. So you're basically sitting in a situation if you're Florida State where you've got to find players like you, and it's almost impossible to do that. You've got to rebuild that defensive line to where you can roll 8-9 guys in, and they don't have those guys. They just don't have them. So on top of that, DJU is what he is, and I think he gets sort of unfairly criticized as an awful quarterback. He's pretty good, right? Like he's not great, he's not bad, he's certainly not what he was cracked up to be, but he's okay.
I agree.
And okay is not going to beat Memphis. Like, that's the thing. It's like Memphis is in a situation now where it should make a run to the New Year's Six. I'm sorry, man, old school New Year's Six, college football playoff contention. Right. So it's like they're ready to go, and Florida State's in a situation where they might not be able to solve the biggest problem that they have.
Do you expect Memphis to win?
Oh, man, you're asking me this on Monday.
You don't have to answer. Just like you didn't know how Arkansas lost that game.
Oh, well, that's true.
Well, you won't know that later in the week either. You'll never figure that one out. Nobody will ever figure that one out.
I'm going to go with Memphis. I'm going to say Memphis.
Wow.
Ooh, interesting. That would be.
That might change like right when I hang up the phone.
There you go.
By the way, where did the South Carolina performance come from?
Right, like that's what is that?
I know. I watched that almost the whole game. I couldn't believe it.
That was like Brock Vandegrift decided to be awful. I don't know what that was. The receivers just couldn't get open for Kentucky. South Carolina, that defense was lights out. I did not expect that. I expected Kentucky to do that to South Carolina, not vice versa.
Me too. You don't usually see Stoops teams get out physical the way they did, but credit the Shane Beamer. And then real quick before we let you go, this is basically for me, so you can add some knowledge to my thoughts on this. How good is Kansas State? I'm trying to gauge how good Tulane is by your answer. Kansas State was able to hold off Tulane, come back, win the game in the end in New Orleans. Tulane, obviously, new head coach, new starting quarterback, and that new quarterback looks good. But is K-State really good, average? How would you evaluate that?
I would say above average, but not a true contender in the Big 12.
Oh, okay.
Just because, Avery Johnson is great, and DJ Giddens is a great running back. I don't think they control the line of scrimmage that most Kansas State teams do. Have been consistently doing. because they got pushed off the ball a little bit.
They did.
By Tulane. And I still think that it's a team that can, put up 8 wins. The schedule's okay, but I think defensively they're not what they need to be. And I think it starts with the front seven. And I think that's going to hurt them this year. I think they'll need some breaks to go their way to truly be a Big 12 contender.
Who are the contenders in the Big 12?
Everybody else. No. Utah, man, I really hope Cam Rising.
Yeah, Rising got banged up.
I mean, I really hope he's okay. I still think Oklahoma State is, Arkansas game notwithstanding. Arizona, I was sort of on, and now I'm not. I think UCF can be put in that discussion. How about Texas Tech getting smoked by Washington State? Where did that come from? I would say, and Iowa State with that big win, I would say it's probably Oklahoma State, Iowa State, Arizona still a little bit.
And Utah.
West Virginia, I know they lost to Penn State, but I still like them. I don't know if that's just me trying to stick to my guns a little bit.
I know how that feels.
But like Penn State almost loses to Bowling Green. It's like, God.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
But they survive, and then they'll, you know exactly what Penn State's going to do. Exactly. So they're the same thing every year. How about the Pac-2, though? How about Washington State and Oregon State?
Washington State is angry.
What if Oregon State turns around and beats Oregon this week? The Pac-2 be ready to go for that playoff.
Well, the Civil War, you said, is this week, right, Barrett? With Oregon State. So we'll see what happens. And, of course, Barrett will have you covered wall-to-wall with college football with the terrific Smothered and Covered podcast. He's the host. You can also hear him on Sirius XM College Radio. Also writing for Outkick as a columnist. You can follow him on Twitter at Barrett Sallee and listen to him every Monday during the college football season talking with us right here on Sports 56 Mornings. Barrett, thank you so much. Have a great week.
Thanks, L2. Have a good one.
Take care.
What if both the Pac-2 get in? That could really upset the apple cart when it comes to the playoff if the 2 Pac-2s are in. Man,
I mean, this, they are angry. Like a old man trying to return a soup at a deli.
Well, you talk about being like, you have reason to be angry? Like they literally just everybody left you. Said, sorry, we're done with you. Y'all are on your own.
Oh,
good luck to you.
You know how bad they want to beat Oregon State this weekend? Want to beat Oregon? Oh my gosh!
I mean, yeah, it's like they have a lot of reason to be angry. Fleet Feet, the place to go to get all your running gear. Want to make sure you get those shoes that are just right for you? Go see the folks at Fleet Feet, either one of their 2 locations. They'll take a look at the way you run or walk and fit you with shoes that are just right for you. You can find them in East Memphis in the Laurelwood Shopping Center. You can find them in Collierville at Poplar and Houston Levy next door to the Hueys out there. They take a look at the way you run, the way you walk, and then they'll put you those shoes that are right for you, plus any other gear that you need. They've got you taken care of. You can also get involved in their group runs and other things they do. We're just a couple of months away from the marathon here in town. I know a lot of folks will be training for that, running in that. Well, get all your gear, everything you need over at Fleet Feet. Again, Laurelwood Shopping Center in East Memphis and out in Collierville, Poplar, and Houston Levy next door to the Hueys. Online at fleetfeetmemphis.com.
All right, when we come back, we're going to talk some NFL. We're not going to break down each and every game. We'll do that tomorrow, but certainly we want to talk about some other things that's happening with the National Football League, with the Shield, if you will, some key injuries. If you want to also participate in the program, anything we've talked about on this show, including college football, the Tigers and the attendance issues, Tigers basketball, what Penny Hardaway had to say in his interview with John Rothstein, anything that's on your mind, hit us up on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines at 901-360-8255. You're tuned into Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled, and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. Five Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. Five Ash Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com.
Ulta Beauty's 21 Days of Beauty event is back. From now until September 19th, score over 200 daily beauty steals at 50% off in every category. And check Ulta.com daily to get them all before they're gone. Take 50% off bestsellers from brands like Estee Lauder and Supergoop. Plus, say hello to new finds from brands like Dyson and Sol de Janeiro. And Ilia is now at Ulta Beauty in select stores and online. Shop in-store at Ulta.com or try pickup today. Ulta Beauty. The possibilities are beautiful. Conditions apply while supplies last.
Family Leisure is having the world's biggest spa set. It's happening right now. You can save thousands on in-stock hot tubs that are ready to be delivered. Family Leisure has spas that start at just $28.99. You know those cold plunges? You can get one for yourself starting at $39.99. Or how about swim spas? They start at $17,499. Plus, Family Leisure has set up special financing just for this event. Have you been sitting on the fence about an above-ground pool? Get off that fence and get to Family Leisure to take advantage of huge discounts on all their in-stock above-ground pools. And if you need some patio furniture, it's all priced to move out now. It's not too late to have some summer fun, courtesy of Family Leisure. But you better hurry up. The world's biggest spa sale might go on forever. Family Leisure. Witten Road at I-40. Family and fun come together.
Just a quick reminder, it's football season, and if you are not spending a little time each weekend watching college or pro ball at Bell Tavern, Memphis' perfect downtown neighborhood bar, people might be talking about you behind your back. See, everyone else has figured out that Bell Tavern, with its ice-cold beer, signature cocktails, cozy atmosphere, and incredible staff, is the perfect place to while away a fall Saturday or Sunday cheering on your team in a place where people act like adults, whether their team is winning or losing. Bell Tavern is not a sports bar, except when it is.
I should mention, by the way, probably the most impressive thing I guess I saw for the weekend was the kicker from Brentwood Academy Friday night with a 59-yard field goal against Christian Brothers.
I saw your tweet.
And he's the backup kicker. He's not Rob Baronis' son, who's their actual kicker. This is the other guy who made a 59-yard field goal. Longest field goal I've ever seen made in a high school game.
Wow, that's incredible.
I mean, my
son was a kicker, made some long ones, nothing close to 59.
And the thing is, like, I don't know that it would have been good from 60. Like, it was, but he had used every last inch. But
good for him.
59-yard field goal for a high school kid. That's impressive. But I brought him out. I was like, a few years ago, I think Baronis was might have been his sophomore year. They tried like a 64-yarder or something like that. It wasn't even close. Like, pulled and everything else. So when they brought this kid out, I'm like, okay, now at first when they brought the field goal, I'm like, okay, they're going to let Baronis do this again. And then I'm like, oh, no, this isn't Baronis. This is the other kid. And I'm like,
because he has a bigger leg, that's why they went with him?
I don't know. I mean, Baronis is going to Stanford. Like, he's awesome. But I get, like, because Baronis kicked the first extra point. Then this kid kicked the second extra point. I'm like, oh, they must just let this kid get some time. But I thought for sure on a long field goal it would be Baronis. But no, it's this kid. And then, so I'm like, okay, well, they're trying this, but there's no way he'll make it. And then, sure enough, he drills it, makes it. He's only a junior, so I'm sure he'll be opening some eyes. Like Baronis like the kickoff to open the second half. On his kickoff, he kicked it through the uprights.
Jeez.
So it's not like that thing. Like talk about a plethora of kicking in a high school. Like there's so many high schools that don't have a single kicker that could make an extra point. They got a guy going to Stanford, and then they got a guy making 59-yarders.
Is it me or kickers overall? Now, they're not always accurate, and especially what you said about a lot of college kickers, certainly high school kickers. But are kickers in general kicking it further? I don't know if there's something to do with the ball and how the ball's inflated, but
it's just like everything else in sports. I mean, people get like.
Well, who's the guy that was with with Michigan? Was it Bates?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The guy's like 70s, like nothing. How about Dallas? They were going to go for the field goal, and then they got the penalty.
Yeah, well, they made the 66-yarder, but Mike McCarthy's an idiot and let the clock expire without calling the timeout before it. And then he left him out there to try this. And they act like they're going to try the 71-yarder. And I'm like, there's no way you're trying a 71-yard field goal. Now, Brandon Aubrey, I think.
He's got a huge leg, but 71?
I think he's got a great, if they could get, especially if they get an indoor situation. I wouldn't be surprised indoors if they let him try a 70-yarder.
But that's my point. Maybe,
like he's going to break the NFL record.
Well, the elements, maybe if they're in altitude in Denver or inside where there's no elements to affect it. I don't know, but it seems like they're kicking them further. I don't know if they're getting stronger legs.
I mean, like just like pitchers in baseball, keep throwing it harder.
Crazy.
Like everything.
What's the record
get bigger
now?
or stronger.
What's the NFL record now?
66.
I remember when it was Tom Dempsey. Do you remember Tom Dempsey? Had half a foot?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I always thought he had like steel at the end of that, and that's why I kicked it so far. But my gosh.
Aubrey, if they had not had the delay game, would have tied the record, Justin Tucker's record with that 66-yarder.
Okay. See,
but
when you said that, I was thinking maybe Tucker had a 67.
But yeah, it was. But yeah, I think Aubrey in an indoor situation, the Cowboys might let him try a 70-yarder.
Yeah, why not?
I was okay for him trying it for 71.
The only problem is in that situation because you're scared of the return guy. Like, because if it does come up short, those return guys, they had a guy back there, and then you got a bunch of offensive linemen trying to make a tackle. But if they can get the right situation where it's either a big lead or it's at the end of a game, something like that, where they don't have to necessarily worry maybe as much about the return, I think they, and especially if it's indoors, I think they will let him try a 70-yarder.
Well, speaking of the Cowboys, what looked like a chaotic offseason has fallen into place with the CeeDee Lamb contract and now announced prior to kickoff the Dak Prescott extension. He agrees to 4 years, $240 million. Was it $230 million guaranteed?
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't they just guarantee the whole damn thing? $230 of the $240. Anyway, Dak is happy. The Cowboys are happy. Jerry Jones never seemed to be concerned. They go to Cleveland. They beat the Browns. Again, we'll talk more about the actual game itself tomorrow. They get another return for a touchdown. Really good day for the Cowboys.
If you wanted them to re-sign Dak, yes. I mean, not for me. It was a terrible day for me, other than the win.
So explain.
Well, everybody knows. Like, if you heard me, I don't want them to pay Dak Prescott $60 million. I don't think he's worth $60 million.
So you'd rather have
now once they have
draft
to,
the rookie
now
quarterback?
next year where they have to sign Parsons and you're going to be I don't know, like you're just going to continue to lose players.
How about if it turns into a Super Bowl? Then you're going to change your tune real quick.
Well, I'll be happy that they won a Super Bowl. I don't think it will. I think it's been proven already that he's not going to win in the postseason, and now paying him more and losing more guys. I don't believe they're going to win the Super Bowl with Dak Prescott as the quarterback.
Why do you think they believe? Why do they think differently? In your opinion, what's your guess as to why Jerry Jones and the powers that be
they don't? There's a fear of the unknown of it. Like they do know he puts up good numbers and they win a bunch of games during the regular season. And if you don't bring him back, then you have to replace him with somebody, and you could miss in the draft or try to sign another free agent or whatever. So there's a fear of the unknown part of it, that the known versus the unknown. I think that's the whole thing. If you have a quarterback who you do know can win games and put up big numbers, I can understand that that's hard to just say, you know what, no, we're going to let him walk and go in a different direction. I get that. I just don't. I just don't want him to pay. I don't think Dak Prescott should be the highest paid player in football history. And I don't think if you're paying him $60 million and now you're paying CeeDee Lamb, and then when you're going to have to pay Micah Parsons next year, in which Micah Parsons will probably demand the biggest contract for a non-quarterback, but all these things, like, you're just going to continue to lose guys at other positions.
Did you detect a little smile when Tom Brady in his first game was talking about Dak's contract and being the highest paid player? It was like a little sly little smile, I thought.
I didn't think that.
Maybe I'm just looking too much into it, but it's almost like the wheels were turning and he was like, this guy? Anyway, what did you think, by the way, of his debut?
I thought he was bad early, got better. Long way to go.
Average grade?
Yeah, he was average at best.
I mean, people were destroying another former quarterback, but this was with college, and that was Colt McCoy. I didn't watch the game he was broadcasting, so I don't know how bad he was, but people were saying Colt McCoy was really, really bad.
And then next year, he's going to get really good, and he's going to go to back-to-back Super Bowls, and then he's going to win another 2 or 3 Super Bowls. Oh, Tom Brady? He's not playing. Never mind.
Brady, like, at first it felt like he was, like, I guess he was nervous. I'm sure he was nervous.
Sure. Was he forcing it a little bit?
He was just like, it was all just the most generic stuff. Like, there was zero personality whatsoever.
Right.
Then it felt like he loosened up later in the game. I'm sure, again, got more comfortable, everything else. But again, I mean, there's plenty of time. But the fact that he's to be calling the Super Bowl this year, it's got a long way to go.
Speaking of quarterbacks, Jordan Love on Friday night in the Packers-Eagles game, late in that game in Brazil, is injured. MCL sprain. Luckily, it's not too serious, but he's going to be out for a while. And so now they're looking at the possibility of Malik Willis. There's been talk of Bailey Zappi. The Packers all of a sudden are in deep trouble. And again, you can make the argument, well, Jordan Love hadn't really proven himself, and yet look at the contract you gave him, and he gets hurt. Well, injuries happen. So I wouldn't judge it on that. But the Packers are expected to be a playoff team, puts them well behind the 8 ball to start things off.
I mean, they're screwed. Let's be honest. They're screwed.
Putting it mildly, they're screwed.
They said they reached out to Ryan Tannehill. They could end up with the Titans quarterback room of Ryan Tannehill and Malik Willis. They're in trouble. There's no other way about it. I mean, Malik Willis is not winning you football games.
What you talking about, Willis?
And there's not a whole bunch of quarterbacks. I don't think there's any quarterbacks out there that you're just going to go pick up right now who are going to win you football games. Not a lot of them anyway.
Steelers end up having, because of injury, start Justin Fields, who they picked up in the offseason, because Russell Wilson wasn't ready to go. And not that Fields had this incredible game, but he did enough. And the Steelers beat the Falcons, which I did not see that coming. In fact, the Steelers were the only team in the AFC North that won. So Justin Fields having to step in for Russell Wilson. So we'll see what happens now if there's a quarterback controversy, because it seemed like there was before Mike Tomlin laid down the law and said Wilson was his starter. I don't know. So Fields gets the W. Speaking of quarterbacks, and we'll talk more about this tomorrow, the rookie debut of Caleb Williams was not good. He will be good. I'm pretty sure he will be good. He was not good. He was trying to do college things that you can't do against NFL defenses. Yet somehow you were wondering how Arkansas lost that game to Oklahoma State. I don't know how the hell the Titans lost that game to the Bears. Well, I know. I mean, you can't give up defensive touchdowns and special teams touchdowns. You can't throw interceptions, and that's what they did. But somehow, someway, after the great start, Tony Pollard, the former Memphis Tiger, scoring on that first drive, scoring a touchdown for the Titans, everything was honky-dory, and all of a sudden it came crumbling down, but not because of the Bears' offense.
Yeah, it's, for the Titans to hold the Bears, what they did, yardage-wise, and still lose that game is just awful. Levis was bad. That's ugly football. That's some ugly football. watching that stuff.
Uglier football was what happened in New Orleans if you are part of the Carolina Panthers. Bryce Young is toast. He's toast. And it's like 20% his fault, 80% the organization's. They are a really bad football team. Before I blinked, it was like 30-0 or whatever it was, New Orleans. And it's not like the Saints are a juggernaut.
Yeah, not the way he wanted to start this year. And he doesn't have much help at all. It's rough for him. But yeah, I mean that thing. Like you look at the young quarterbacks, like even the first and second year guys, it was not a good day. Unless you're C.J. Stroud, like he's the exception to everything else. But the first and second year guys, it's a rough go out there.
You have to play the guys in spring training, in camp. You have to play them in the preseason games. At least give them some run. Williams had a little bit of run, a little bit. You got to play him a game out there. You got to give him a chance. Nix played more. Now Nix had a couple of picks for Denver. Jaden Daniels actually threw the ball pretty well and had 2 touchdown runs. Didn't throw a touchdown, though, but he also didn't throw a pick. But still, you got to get these guys in the game. I know how worried they are about injuries. Well, J.J. McCarthy got hurt, right? So there you go. But you got a veteran like Sam Darnold who stepped in, who was going to be the starter anyway, and they win. And Jacoby Brissett, and we talked about that. Like, are you kidding me? Jacoby Brissett's going to start? New England beat Cincinnati. Now, I don't think they're going to win a bunch of games. But for week number 1, Brissett at the helm. I don't know if it would have happened with Drake May, although they won with their defense.
Yeah, Cincinnati.
Gerard Mayo, what a great first win.
With no T. Higgins and obviously Chase and the issues, but how Cincinnati managed to only put up 13 or whatever they end up with, just crazy.
Yeah, Chase
I don't care
played.
I don't care if T. Higgins is out and Chase hasn't practiced at all, whatever. Like come on.
They're veterans.
You've got Joe Burrow.
Exactly.
You should be able to do. And now, granted, the one dude fumbled on his way into the end zone. They had a drop touchdown. Like they worked really hard to lose that game.
There's no more Mixon. There's no more Pirine. You had Chase had 6 catches, even though he does not have a new deal. That was a shocker. And again, we'll get more into in-depth on all the games tomorrow in the program.
That was the survivor pool killer.
Yes, it
yesterday.
Was. And tonight,
that blew
of
up
course,
survivor pools everywhere.
We got the Jets and the 49ers tonight. We'll have that game for you right here on Sports 56, 98.5 FM, starting with the pregame at 7. When we come back, final segment, I want to get into the whole Tyreek Hill deal. The whole Tyreek Hill situation in Miami, both on and off the field. Jenkins Floors and More is the third-hour sponsor of Sports 56 Mornings. They got the big showroom open now in Horn Lake at 2356 Goodman Road. They specialize in flooring and carpeting, and if it's variety you're looking for, they have it. They got the SPC and WPC vinyls, which are scratch-resistant and waterproof, ceramic and porcelain tiles, hardwoods by Portercraft, carpeting from Southern Luxury Carpet, and so much more. And they promise a 2-week turnaround. So if you go with Jenkins, they'll have the job done in 2 weeks. They'll come to you, and they will give you a free estimate. Again, they'll come to you. You don't have to go to them. For all you folks out there who can do it yourself and contractors as well, it just makes sense because they sell it to you wholesale. Skip the middleman. You're getting great material, getting it at a great price, and go ahead and get the job done. But again, Jenkins could do it for you. Just call them at 662-469-9350. They're open Monday through Saturday with stores in Horn Lake, in Cleveland, Mississippi, and in Little Rock, Arkansas. It's Jenkins Floors and More, third-hour sponsor of Sports 56 Mornings. You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Be sure to follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ.
Welcome to Triumph Auto Sales, where you'll have a great car buying experience. Triumph Auto Sales is your #1 source of quality pre-owned vehicles ranging from lease returns to new car trades, all at huge savings. Plus, Triumph has a full array of financing options to meet your needs. Find your next car online at TriumphAutoSales.com or stop in today at 4875 Elmore Road. Triumph Auto Sales will help you get the vehicle you want at the price you need and the service you deserve. For a great
auto sales.
Getting engaged soon? Don't make her settle for one of those knockoff mass-produced rings you find at most jewelry stores. Get to Genesis Diamonds and get her that one-of-a-kind ring she really wants from a world-class designer. Hey, it's Eric Hasseltine, and Genesis Diamonds has the rings on every woman's wish list. Truly handcrafted rings made in the USA from names like Tacori, Coraggio, and dozens more. Oh, we're not even allowed to sell these amazing brands, but you can get them at Genesis. This is one amazing store owned by a former diamond wholesaler. Every diamond is straight from the cutter with rock-bottom prices, and nothing's held back. We'll show you the inside secrets of the diamond business and teach you how to buy like a dealer buys. They can also explain the differences between natural and lab-grown diamonds, so you can buy with total confidence. We're lucky to have Genesis here, so check them out. It's extended. You won't thank me. Check them out online at genesisdiamonds.com.
Get your tailgate season going now and win a free tailgate package from Buster's Butcher. Stop in Buster's Butcher, 199 South Highland Street, and register to win an Ice Mule Cooler, 4 Yeti Coasters, a $200 gift certificate, and some Buster's branded swag. Tailgate package valued at $500, no purchase necessary, 1 entry per person. Winner drawn 10 a.m. October 1st. Buster's Butcher offering the finest selection of curated meats, cheeses, prepared foods, and more. Learn more at bustersbutcher.com.
Ulta Beauty's 21 Days of Beauty event is back. From now until September 19th, score over 200 daily beauty steals at 50% off in every category. And check Ulta.com daily to get them all before they're gone. Take 50% off bestsellers from brands like Estee Lauder and Supergoop. Plus, say hello to new finds from brands like Dyson and Sol de Janeiro. And Ilia is now at Ulta Beauty in select stores and online. Shop in-store at Ulta.com or try pickup today. Ulta Beauty. The possibilities are beautiful. Conditions apply while supplies last.
For retro cruiser styling packed with modern innovations, riders of all skill levels choose a Honda Rebel. Incredible motorcycles with a stripped-down style and a full package of features. Both the 300 and the 500 offer compact power inside a lightweight frame. Combined with a low slim seat, the Rebel is easy to start on. And with new colors for this year, they are impossible to ignore. Go to DeSoto Honda to check out the 2023 Honda Rebels. Cruisers with premium style and performance to enjoy every second. Use the street as a racetrack with the law of your own driving.
Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jenkins Floors and More. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 9:50 the time. The Cheetah, Tyreek Hill, helped lead the Dolphins to a come-from-behind win. Looked like they were in deep trouble against Jacksonville, pulled it out. The Cheetah caught a long touchdown pass from Tua Tagovailoa, but it appeared for a while there that he might not even be a part of the team and a part of the game, because earlier he was arrested for speeding.
Not arrested,
excuse me. He was pulled over for speeding and then was cited for speeding, but then was put in handcuffs, I guess because he got maybe a little lippy with the police officers. Now, there is a internal investigation going on. The police chief announcing that there's already been one of the policemen that has been suspended with pay as they investigate. And Hill was eventually let go and then went on to play in the game. Then when he caught that touchdown, was it Jalen Waddle? Mm-hmm. Their little celebration was basically with Tyreek Hill improvising what happened to him earlier in the day with his hands behind his back and Waddle coming from behind to, I guess, pretend to put cuffs on him. But in any case, my oh my, we have so many of those incidents that seem to happen. And I don't know if Tyreek Hill is pulled over for speeding. Okay, you're speeding. You're pulled over. You're probably antsy. You got to get to work. You got a game coming up. I don't know what happened, but I would imagine if you just, hey, look, man, apologies. I'm Tyreek Hill with the Dolphins. I'm trying to get to the game. I can't imagine too many cops wouldn't like understand.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, from Tyreek, he basically said he didn't do anything. Like he had no idea why they did it. And I mean, to see them have him out handcuffed and face down on the ground,
that's crazy for a speeding ticket.
I find it hard to believe that it escalated in any way, shape, or form to a point where that was necessary. Like I don't know. That is strange. And then Calais Campbell ends up in handcuffs because he stopped on his way in to try and just help and figure out what was going on. They end up putting him in handcuffs. This, I don't know. Not there. This seems like some police that went way overboard with this.
Again, wasn't there, don't have all the information, but certainly, that sounds like it's way overboard.
Here's what I do know.
Now,
if Tyreek Hill wanted to run from you, he would have outran you.
Yes.
You would not have caught him.
Probably faster in the car. But the point is that I do believe he had to have said something. You think these police, now, we know there's rogue cops, but you think they pulled him out of the car and just threw him in cuffs and then slammed him to the ground? I don't know. I mean, I think first you go license, registration, Tyreek Hill, and I would be saying something. First of all, I'd be saying absolutely something to the police. So, yeah.
I don't know if there will be body cam footage that will come out of this.
It won't be on. They'll find out it wasn't on.
Even if, I don't know, maybe he said some things. I can't imagine it turn into a point where he needed to be handcuffed.
I'm with you.
Face down on the ground over speeding or reckless driving.
Right.
And when other players are stopping to basically see what's going on and you end up putting them in handcuffs as well, like, come on. Like, seriously, like, I have to believe the police knew who it is. Like, you're right outside the stadium. I don't know. That was a strange situation.
I give him a lot of credit.
When I started seeing that video, I'm like, what in the world is going on?
And I give him a lot of credit because you have to be shaken up a little bit. And here you are. You come to the stadium. You play football. You score a big touchdown and the come-from-behind win.
I mean, full Scotty Scheffler moment.
I was just going to bring it up.
And I have no idea. They'll have their version of events. I just can't imagine anything happen to make it even somewhat reasonable that you had him in cuffs down on the ground the way you did. I just don't. Like, that's hard for me to believe anything could have happened that he did that would have warranted that situation to play out the way it did.
Unless there was a gun there, and I don't think there was a gun.
And then also, like, the officer, like, struck him from behind to
Did
get
he
him
really?
on the ground.
Gosh,
it's like he was in the video. Like, if you
that's got to be the one that was suspended, right?
Yeah, it was one of the officers. That matter of fact, they said that one of the officer that hit him, he's on leave right now.
Yeah, I just mentioned that. Yeah, that's crazy. Real quick, SEC power rankings according to SEC Unfiltered. Do you agree with these, Eli? Georgia, Texas, Ole Miss, Tennessee, top 4. Then Bama, Missouri, LSU, Oklahoma, 5 through 8. Texas A&M, South Carolina, Vanderbilt, Arkansas, and your bottom 4, Kentucky, Auburn, Florida, Mississippi State. Anybody should be higher or lower? Sound pretty good?
I mean, off of that performance, Kentucky probably should be last.
Exactly. I mean, I could easily put South Carolina ahead of Oklahoma. Oklahoma barely beat a Houston team that's retooling, and South Carolina went into Kentucky and destroyed them on the road.
Raider Corey says, texted on the Tyreek Hill, says, no one should ever be handcuffed and laying face down for a traffic stop.
Exactly.
And never be physically forced down after being detained and handcuffed. The stupidity must stop. He's not a threat to you.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Campbell wasn't either, even though he got out of the car. He got a big guy coming at you, but he's not coming at you with a gun or anything like that. And he's probably just saying, hey, what's going on? Again, you can't respond that way.
And as Tyreek said, like, what if I wasn't Tyreek Hill?
Right.
Like, they're doing that to Tyreek Hill. I have to assume they know who that. Like, how could you be a policeman down there and not know who Tyreek Hill is?
Did you not ask for the license and registration?
Like,
that's the first thing they do.
You're right outside the stadium. Like, you got to. I would think Tyreek. He's got to be one of the more popular Dolphins.
I would think so.
I would assume everybody down there recognizes Tyreek Hill.
Absolutely.
And so that's just, again, it's very, very bizarre.
I'll be curious to hear what they had to say about this once they do their investigation.
Genesis Diamonds, Poplar Perkins Extended Inventory. You'll find them. So you're going to find beautiful jewelry from all the top designers. Unbelievable selection, great prices, and great service as well. Always new, fresh stuff coming in, from the jewelry to the diamonds, everything. They get the fresh cut stones straight from the world's best diamond cutters, and there's always new stuff, even including the 3, 5, even 10 in carats, but they've got something for every price range imaginable over at Genesis Diamonds. So go check them out, Poplar and Perkins Extended. If you're thinking about getting engaged, if you've got a special occasion coming up, you need a piece of jewelry, Genesis Diamonds has it for you. Go see them, Poplar and Perkins Extended.
Our thanks to Barrett Salee for joining us tomorrow. We're back starting bright and early at 7 a.m. Connor O'Gara joins us to talk some SEC football. We'll do the entire NFL recap tomorrow. That includes what will happen tonight in San Francisco between the Niners and the Jets. We got Humdinger's Trivia coming your way and some other things we're working on for the Tuesday edition of Sports 56 Mornings. Wallo and Friends on Sports 56 is next. For Eli Savoy and Zach Boyd, I'm Greg Gaston. Have a great Monday, everybody.